land to the north. Like, I love his stats, like, oh, we give you 50% of the oil, it's 51.4%. But you do realize that we just use 4 to 5 states to pump 72% of all oil production in the U.S. We're not even tapping into the majority of our states.
They invented American football. Give them a break.
And they have
And basketball, let's be honest.
Well, actually, no, basketball, it was a Canadian person who invented it, but he invented it in the U.S. Technically, like, even if you count that, like, you guys are crash at it, so it doesn't matter.
Is it McDonald's Canadian?
Is that like when the Blue Jays won the World Series 2 years in the same open? With all American players.
American ball players wanted in. I'm playing for a Canadian team.
So how you guys win hockey all the time?
We don't take your Canadians because no one likes you.
Does Jeremy like Trudeau? Full Canadians. Does Jeremy like Trudeau?
Oh, Canada! The only thing that Trudeau did for Canada was to legalize weed. After that, he's been fucking.
Dude, he's been the most incompetent prime minister we've ever had.
He's up there.
He is.
Wait, Jeremy, you know how we put hot sauce on everything? Do you think just put maple syrup on everything?
Oh yeah. And by the way, by the way, hold on. That's a fucking great question. Hold up, guys. I'm gonna drop some shit on you. You can make a BLT. Hold up, make a BLT. Okay, classic BLT.
Stop it.
But drizzle some fucking maple syrup
Don't
on that
continue,
shit.
stop it.
Dude, that's gonna make you want to be Canadian. That's gonna make you want to be a Canadian more than a woke leftist when Trump got elected. Like I'm telling you.
Maple syrup on a BLT.
I'm telling you, it's gonna fucking change the world. And not to reinforce a stereotype, my family actually has a sugar shack. We've got about like 300 trees on tap, so I know what I'm talking about here. You guys are trying this.
So Jeremy always says, he'll say he doesn't like something, or he doesn't support something, or he speaks very neutrally about it, but he has defended Trudeau many times, and he...
Can you give me an example?
When I finish, please? Thank you. So, I was just in Canada for over a month, and I noticed that it's censored when you try to post a link. Even, I'm not talking about like suspicious links, I'm talking about normal, reliable links, like CNN or something, I don't know. YouTube, okay, anything.
CNN is one of the least to rely.
You get a message, any link at all. Think of the most reliable link you can. You get a message.
InfoWars was out.
That Florida. So you get a message that the Canadian government will not allow you to post it.
Yeah, that's any news media outlet on like Facebook or Instagram or something. They'll block you from seeing
And so anyways,
Jeremy,
go ahead.
the point is Jeremy is fine with it. He acts like he acts like he's tough, and he acts like he's suspicious or critical or whatever, but he supports it. He does.
Jeremy.
I think he's a bit
Wait, Jeremy,
wait, one second. Let me ask her.
So, Cherries, where has he claimed to support it?
In this room. Not today, but in this room when I brought it before. So ask him.
Do you remember when and how?
Ask him right now.
Well, I'm curious. No, because he's going to try to deny it and backtrack. I want to hear
I didn't write down the date, but it was in this.
That's fine. But do you remember what his defense was? Wait, but do you remember what his defense was? I want to hear both sides of the story.
His defense. Well, go ahead, Jeremy. I think he's going to tell you.
All right, be honest, Jeremy.
Yeah, I remember the conversation exactly, and Tara was trying to bring up the example of a bullshit law that where Canada came in and forced social media private companies to restrict the data that they could post because it didn't compensate the source of that data properly. Basically, a protectionary measure against Canadian media, right? And the Canadian government came in and put in what I consider to be a bullshit issue. My retort to Sherry was that there's no difference between that and the American government coming in and banning TikTok. That those are exactly the same thing. That those are governments coming in and preventing private companies and restricting their ability to have free speech because of political reasons. That was my point. I never once said that I supported Trudeau or
Jeremy.
that ban. I just made the analogy between that and the U.S. coming in and then both sides saying, hey, it's fine to ban this private company from operating and providing a software in America because they do the same thing that Facebook and American social media companies do, but they're trying. That was the only point I was making.
The law, go ahead, Charles. Yeah, you were fine.
But do you or do you not
Is that
support it? Because that's what I before. Yes, it's your response. So, you're not. But also because it has to do with China and specifically China.
They are trying to.
But it
Both
hasn't
parties
passed yet.
support the ban, and it has been passed, and it's happening this fall.
So
It's
Jeremy,
been passed, it hasn't been passed yet,
Jeremy, my question is, so Jeremy, the question is, you can't even post a link in messages here. You can't do it anywhere. Like you cannot. I mean, is it that?
Oh, certainly, what link would you like me to post it? I'm happy to post.
Oh, so you can't.
No,
No.
I'm happy to post what link you're talking.
Jeremy, she's asking about like the law.
The
The TikTok law?
Like you post a link here.
Or the Canadian one. I can post either.
The
No,
Canadian law.
you can't post it. I don't know.
No, Jeremy, she's not asking you to post a law to back up what you're saying.
She's
asking
talking about the
how
censorship laws in Canada that don't allow.
Oh, Chris, ask your
Like
question.
even on your cell phone, you can't send a link. You can't do it on anything in Canada. That's my question. On your computer, on your phone,
The question
anywhere.
is, how does the law work? Like, what is
Yeah, got to. So basically, the law that they put in place in Canada said that any social media company that is going to post or allow people to repost news links, like you know how you go to Facebook to get news and it clicks through to your local newspaper or news agency? Canada came and said, hey, if you're going to source from a Canadian news source, then as Facebook or private company, you can't do that unless you compensate them with money. And Facebook and all of them said, no, we're going to put our foot down and say, no, we're not going to pay them money. We're no different than Google when you Google a news thing and Google puts up a news link. And so we're not going to compensate those news agencies. And Canada put out a law, and I disagree with it, but Canada put out a law that's okay, that's fine. If you're not going to compensate, then you're not allowed to do it. And so when someone posts a news article from Toronto Post, Americans can see it, but Canadians won't see it.
So wait, well,
Canadians can't even post it.
So will the link just not show up at all, or will the post get restricted from even being allowed to post until the link
It
is
gets
removed?
restricted from being able to post it. You get blocked from posting it. And
What if you can you remove the hyperlink functionality of it and just post the link?
You can post the text for sure, but you can't post Cherry's. Because I really don't know deep about this, but my understanding was that if I'm a Canadian and I post a link from CTV News about an article, Americans will be able to see that post, but Canadians will never see that post.
When I
It's a
was in
question.
Canada,
How
I
is
was
that
not able
question?
to post Canadian links, not even Canadian links.
Jeremy, from a legal perspective, what do you think the primary difference is that prevents social media companies from doing it and say, I don't know, a university doing it in a research paper? What is the main difference in citing your source when it comes to referencing information between a social media company and a research paper?
I think that where Canada makes a distinction, and again, I'll reiterate, I think it's bullshit law, but I think where Canada makes the distinction is that Canada has this concept of Canadian content, right? Which is that, like, if you're a Canadian radio station, you have a legal
Owns the content.
No. What it is that if you're a Canadian radio station, you have a legal obligation to broadcast a certain percentage of your content that is Canadian created content. which again is insane. I don't agree with that law, but they've done that in order to, support Nickelback and in an American entertainment-dominated society, right?
I was trying to post Canadian links. It didn't allow me. I was blocked from posting.
Well, that's what he's
links.
saying. That's what he's saying, right?
Yeah, that's where the origin of it is.
The law is designed to protect the Canadian companies first.
Content creator, exactly.
By proxy, the American and any other link is now also subject to the same regulation, because Facebook isn't going to go through and filter out every store on whether or not it's.
No, but they do for it. That's exactly what it is. Is Facebook was like, oh yeah.
No, Jeremy.
So all Canadians are getting software, but America.
No, I get that. So within never mind. Cherries, did you understand what I meant? So like Facebook isn't gonna like filter what is a Canadian sourced link versus what is a non-Canadian sourced link, and allow you to, within Canada's borders, still post non-Canadian links, because that's way too much.
No.
So Jeremy, she said that when she was there, she tried to post a CNN article from America and she couldn't do it.
No, that's not. I don't think that's what she said. I think what she said, and Cherry's jump in, is she said she tried to post a Canadian news article from Canada was unable to.
I tried to post both. I could not post any sort of link. It would not allow. And I'm looking actually for the screenshot of the message you get from Facebook when you try to post any link at all. So I'm
it's been ages. I've been Facebook, but I think the origin of this, and then
you
again.
can only post Canadian links. It says you cannot post links at all. The government of Canada does not want you posting links.
For any news?
And I will say this, just for the record, regardless of the fact that I also think it's a bullshit law, and I agree with Jeremy on his perception that it's a bullshit law. Jeremy, the idea of enabling and supporting free speech and the right to post a link on social media, that is a leftist position. So it doesn't give you any more credence to the
That's
fact that you're not a
interesting. So you think a capitalist private business's ability to allow its users to do what they want, and the government's inability to infringe on that is a leftist idea rather than a right idea? I think that's a very right idea.
Yeah. I think anything that restricts government power is leftist in nature.
Yeah.
Such as
And
free
do
speech
you also
laws
agree
in totality. Free speech is very left.
You also agree that anything that restricts the individual's rights is also very leftist?
Anything that restricts an individual's rights is very rightist.
So hold on. Did you just say that which restricts the individual's rights is very right rather than left?
I wouldn't say anything is very right, and but I think the concept of free speech is like unadulterated, unhindered, unconsequential free speech is very far left, and therefore I think the opposite of complete restriction and complete authority over one's speech is extremely right.
That's fascinating.
And so from those two extreme ends of the spectrum, somewhere you'll fall in the middle.
I am fascinated by this. So the idea that it should be illegal for someone to mispronoun me is a rightist idea, not a leftist idea, because it restricts free speech and prevents you from saying something that hurts me. So that's a right idea.
It is.
That's a Republican idea.
So
I wouldn't say
no. I'm talking about left versus right, authoritarian versus libertarian, right? What I'm really talking about here is like, it's authoritarian in the sense that it's censorship of your speech, but it's leftist in the perspective of doing it in some sort of quote unquote, like, I don't know, support. Doing it in the name of gender affirmation is what makes it leftist.
But before, did you get where I struggle with when people call me like the ultimate leftist, because I think there should be less government for the most part. Like I will support any law that says if you want to introduce a new law that restricts my freedom, then you have to take away 3 existing laws that restrict my freedom. I'm for any law that says, hey, if you want to print money, then you can never, if you vote for a budget that's not balanced, you can never run for government again. Like, I think the government should be 10% of what they are and figure it the fuck out. Why am I allowed this?
Smaller government
Is left or right?
So, smaller government, if no government is the extreme left, anarchy is the extreme left,
That's
and
the extreme
total
left.
government is the far right, then a limited government is left leaning, which is what the Republican Party was when it was established, just FYI.
I am so
This political access doesn't make any sense to me.
I'm so confused right now because I thought it was exactly the opposite of Florida second.
No.
Someone jump in.
Anarchy. So wait, Dope, do you disagree with the fact that complete anarchy is leftist in nature?
I think
No, because leftist, the entire idea.
individual authority is
So let's be clear. So Dope, what are your definitions of leftist?
There's different ways of looking at leftism. Leftism, at the end of the day, is simply it goes against a modern conservative idea, or at least a modern standard. That's the best way you could describe leftism in a sense.
You want to talk about modern leftism?
I'll agree
But
with that.
it's relative, you know, like a leftist stance in the 2000s is different from a leftist stance in the
I
to the
think a
1900s.
leftist stance in the 2000s is a bastardization of libertarianism.
Can I interrupt?
In what sense? Libertarianism in the sense that it's, you know, the leftists don't look at themselves as libertarians at all anymore, like at all.
Leftists, no, they don't. They are for individuality and individual.
American, and you are Mike in American.
What are you doing? Are you saving? What's going on?
I'm not going to say what that sounds like.
That's not like
So, no one should be that excited about this conversation right now.
She's only doing it because I'm talking.
Stop the atheism, stop the atheism.
Listen, anyways.
So Jeremy, my question is, if it's physical, so, did you go to jail for it? Or do you have to pay fines? I mean, like, did you do it, did you try to do it so many times? Or is it just won't show up?
The laws against the Facebook, it has nothing to do with the individual. So it's just that Facebook as a company is not legally allowed to allow those Canadian sourced news links to be posted without compensating the company that created.
You can post links on other sites, just not like Facebook or certain companies.
Yeah, 100%. Like, yeah, 100%. I can as a Canadian, I can take a Canadian news link and post it on TikTok or talk about it or do whatever. The law is a lot more related to like copyright than anything else. All they're saying is that, hey, if a news agency went and wrote this news article and paid a journalist to go and research it and create it, then if you're going to take it and monetize it and make money off it by allowing it to be reprinted on your private website, then you need to compensate the person that did the work and invested in it. In the same way that if you want to play a song on your radio station as a private company, you have to compensate the content creator. That's really important.
You said you could post the link on something like TikTok or maybe like, I don't know, Reddit.
Yeah, pretty
He said he
So
could, is my
how,
like Facebook.
but like why? Like how?
I think that the difference is that like if Facebook is scraping the internet and finding that link and then monetizing it by presenting it in people's feed versus me.
No, because Facebook's not doing it. You as the user of Facebook is the one doing it.
Yeah, I think that I'm not an expert on this. I'm just saying this based on my understanding, which is limited, but I think the delta is that when you go in and say, yeah, I want to talk about this subject that was brought up by this news agency, that's allowed. But I can't just go and take CBC Olympic content video and repost it without any commentary or anything and say, I'm just going to repost this content. You know what I mean? It's the same thing as like, hey, I'm going to repost a TikTok, a 3,000 part TikTok that shows Dune Part 2 versus me showing Dune Part 2 in the background of a TikTok while I comment over it. It's that type of copyright issue. I think that's really the heart of what's behind this. And again, I don't agree with it, though. What I'm saying is it's no different than America coming and banning TikTok. Like I think that's just as censorship and government overreach than the Canadian.
Yeah, so dope. Look, as far as that goes, that's a very authoritarian type of a law. To claim that if you want to post, but for some reason I'm still trying to figure out it only like subjectively applies to like Facebook, and it doesn't apply to Reddit or TikTok.
Probably been a problem, but I'm sure that they would try to apply it there. Like, right, in the same way that like if I illegally download a movie from one production company, because of Canadian law, I will get an email from my
to be fair, I think law. I'll give you an example. Here's an example. So the law is the law, and the law ought to be enforced by all companies. But some companies are so big that they feel compelled to enforce it, and others feel like they might be able to slide under the radar. For example, in Texas, they've made porn websites illegal within the borders of Texas. So like Pornhub, for example, no longer operates in Texas, but like other websites do.
Right? And another great example in Canada is that I can play Poker Stars to my heart's content in Quebec, but the second I cross over the border to Ontario, I will not be able to play Poker Stars because it'll see my IP address and it'll say no, because the laws in Ontario are different than Quebec. And in the same way that's like all of what we've been talking about for the last hour, including banning TikTok nationally, is in its essence the exact same thing as the Chinese firewall. Right? It's a government coming in and saying, I know better than what's good for you. And I'm going to go ahead and prevent you from being exposed to something because I as a government, think that I know is better than you, what's good for you. And so I'm going to restrict you from that. It's all offensive. And that's all not left or right.
I have a question, Jeremy. Do you feel like the Chinese government, since you keep trying to equate everything, do you feel like, you just said, just like the Chinese firewall, do you feel like the Chinese government is as nefarious as any other, U.S. government, since you like to bring that up? Do you feel like it's equal?
No, I think they're very different.
Okay. You think they're very different?
No, I don't. I don't think that, I actually don't think that either are necessarily inherently nefarious. I think both do nefarious things. Both have branches of their government that are inherently nefarious, but I don't think the core of either of those nations or their governments are inherently nefarious.
I didn't say the nations, I said the governments specifically.
Well, I said both the nations and the governments. I don't think either are inherently nefarious.
Yeah. You know what's really interesting is actually, and you know how Instagram and Facebook, how it's all connected. I had to sign contracts to even talk about anything politics. I mean, no one believed me. My ex at the time was like, that's not true, until I showed him. I literally had to sign off contracts so I could actually talk about political issues. I've even been on Instagram where I've made posts, nothing with nudity, nothing violent, but my content, as soon as I posted it, I got, of course they didn't allow my post to, go through the feed, and I instantly got a comment back saying, that is not appropriate for our viewers or something to that effect. So yeah. I'm just saying that's happened in me and out here.
We're talking about government regulating what you post. Not Facebook.
Well, the piece does. government is monitoring, what we do out here in America. Yes, they are, big time. And I mean, I don't know if it was necessarily Instagram. I don't know if it necessarily the government. I don't
So
know.
you think the NSA was, flagging you and stopping you from posting a bikini pic or something? I don't understand.
No, they were bugging you. When Snowden released his files, it released the information that the NSA was spying on every American that made phone calls or communications with anyone outside of America.
I know
Something that previously
And no, it was
illegal.
not. And it was not a bikini pic. I already clarified that before I started speaking. Like I said, it had to deal with a very sensitive subject.
Yeah, the American government's doing this for sure. Like on large scale, right? Like we can even look at like the post-January 6 investigations by the FBI and their willingness and the nature of just like checking people's bank accounts, and anybody that had transactions which they deemed questionable could be subject to investigation and or even litigation potentially. But some of the people,
topic, though.
yeah, no, but here's the thing. It's really not, because like some of those transactions were something as simple as like a $250 purchase at Bass Pro Shops.
Yeah.
Right. And they would justify that as though like Bass Pro Shops sells guns, so therefore we need to make sure this person wasn't arming.
The government spying on you is different than the government not allowing you to read links.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I agree with
But Sherry, do you disagree?
You can't even make an informed decision.
Sherry, do you feel offended by Trudeau and what do you do with truckers and their bank accounts? Like, does that enrage you?
Yes, it does.
As far as, okay, so that's what Florida was just talking about.
I don't agree with it at all.
And that's exactly what Florida was just talking about, is that in America, just like Canada.
I didn't say, Jeremy, Jeremy, I really feel like you're anti-American. I really do. And I don't like, I never said, I think it's great. I think it's great that the NSA spies on us. I never said that. So don't act like I did. I didn't say that.
Cherries, welcome to the world of a leftist Canadian. He's extremely anti-American. Why do you think I hate talking? Anytime Jeremy's in the room and we're talking about the military or the economy, I disdain everything that comes out of Jeremy's. It has no nuance to it.
He got quiet.
I mean, I don't know. I just met Jeremy.
The problem with Canadians on this app is that they continue to go around and say how great Canada is, how much better they are. They have it in the USA, but they live under the very blanket protection of the United States. If Canada was safe in Europe, in one of those regions, Canada was conquered and beaten into submission by anybody else long ago. It is what it is. And that blatant disregard for the acknowledgement that they live under the trade agreements, the fact that in essence, we don't necessarily need the products that they give us, and we still conduct trade with them, it is massive. And within a stroke of a pen, we could literally bankrupt Canada and would pull our protection, and they would never be able to stand on themselves. And right now, they have a government that they advocate for that really doesn't do much under all their social programs. Their healthcare services is shit. Their rank is very low. They disregard the damage that they're continuing to do to indigenous populations, and they act like a fear when they talk about race in these rooms. But yet they have no problem wiping out fucking indigenous Native American women at an alarming rate, and they don't even fucking try to address
That's not a policy of the government to wipe out. Just calm down. Just take it down a notch, Brad, please. Okay.
We did the same thing to Native Americans. I mean, how could you?
I didn't say it. What I said, and I'm going to be very specific. Canadians come into rooms where there's a majority of Americans. And then they'll just sit there and say how great and superior they are in comparison to America. Yet they sit there and ignore all the quantities boundaries that exist within their own country. And I really don't care what you say, Cherry, to also.
Okay, so back to the NSA, I guess, that was a good topic. So how was the NSA spying on you?
I never said the NSA was spying on me. You're asking me directly?
I'm asking anyone but Brad.
And again, I'll come off mic whenever I want to. You don't own this room. Go create your own room. I don't even know who the fuck you are, other than some truck that exists in a fucking clubhouse setting.
So regarding our intelligence apparatus, there are numerous agencies that fall under that umbrella. There are also private intelligence contractors. What you'll typically find is that your consultants, Booz Allen, or your so within your McKinsey, who else? They're going to have intelligence arms taking care of the government and their intelligence needs that might overflow from their internal agencies. There isn't a specific number known, but last time I saw an estimation, something like 40,000 private intelligence contractors along with the government intelligence agencies. So it's not just the NSA, CIA, so on and so forth. What's the... I just got back.
What do you mean by private intelligent companies?
So,
I understand.
The government hires private companies to also engage in intelligence gathering. Some of the companies that I named, Booz Allen. Also,
nothing like Boeing or Hughes or like Raytheon.
Yeah, I think you're gonna also find that you're. Is it me or her? She's robotic.
You.
Oh, yeah, yes, you're robotic.
I think you're gonna also find that your military, your defense contractors are also gonna be engaged in having their own intelligence apparatus servicing the government, right? Just think of it like this. The government says, hey, bro, we need some missiles. Oh, yeah, we can do that. We need some helicopters. Right. Okay, cool. And also we need some intelligence gathering services as well. Oh, sure, we'll do that.
Yeah, I'm more aware.
You're roboting, man.
Yeah, Chris, we can't hear you.
Raytheon wouldn't do that. That's just not in their wheelhouse where they make their profits and expenditures they wouldn't dive into. What the U.S. government would do would be Amazon, health insurance companies, which we already do that. They already collect their data, and they monitor absolutely everything around you. This is kind of, and the government does parse out some of that information. The Cambridge Analytica is another one. There's a lot of other institutes that actually do gathering data on U.S. citizens. Raytheon's not really interested in them. They'll just provide the equipment or build machines or build the weapons that are needed in order to accomplish whatever task the U.S. government is in.
Can I just get a confirmation? Did I say anything that was like overtly rude to Jeremy, other than saying that I think his opinions are distasteful when it comes to the military and economy?
I don't think you did.
All right, just checking, because I think I triggered.
I don't think it was you.
Eric, you're here. Yay. What are the eyes, Cherry? What is that? What's that for?
That voice, I don't know who you're talking to.
Oh, I'm sick.
Oh no, I got COVID again. Ugh, I hate it, but did you get COVID?
No, just kind of generic allergies to the world. I'm not meant, I don't know.
Brad, do you agree with what I was, or do you have any other opinion on like what I was talking about earlier, left versus right? Mike, do you have any different opinions on that? Like, Dope said that he didn't understand where I was coming from. I was
What was the
wondering if you
underlying
guys.
like premise of what you're saying?
Well, your political, just the way you described the left and right, essentially, I didn't get it because at least when I heard Jeremy, you were trying to imply that leftism is anarchism entirely at the most like fundamental level, which I disagree with. But like an absence of authority.
Yeah, I feel like that is leftism, right? Like, so, and the reason I say that is because if I understand correctly, the origin of left versus right dates back to like the French Revolution, or maybe like the British monarchy and like the beginning of America, kind of in Britain, which is like so much that those who were in alignment with the leadership of the country would sit on the right side of the aisle, and those who were against the leadership would sit on the left. And this is in their parliamentary systems, right? And so that's how left versus right was established, which, if I understand correctly, I think is why, so if I understand correctly, that's the origin point. Being for the government was on the right, being against the government, whatever it was on the left, and there you go. You have left versus right, and so that's why I feel like anarchism is leftist at its. Well, no, because at the same time, it's not just being against the government. They're against the government, but they're against what the government represents at the time. They're still revolutionaries. They're trying to install their own government, the people on the left in the French Revolution. So they weren't anarchists per se, but they're still trying to at least reform the system radically. That is what defines the left in my opinion. It's trying to radically transform your current, whatever your society looks like at the time. And that runs consistent with everything that we can describe as the left in Western society for the past 150 years, no doubt. The political landscape changes, but at the end of the day, the constant pattern is that leftists look to reform society from its current standard, and conservatives are basically always on the defense since freaking the 1800s.
So I think it's interesting, Dope in Florida, because in my understanding, I thought we were talking about American left and right, and it's interesting that you expanded beyond that. But my understanding, and I'm open to understanding differently, but I had thought that in America, originally the left was pro-slavery, let me say it right, pro-slavery, so pro-state rights, and it was the right that was anti-slavery, and then at one point in American history that's swapped, and it became, the left was actually more for the people and more social programs, and the right became much more less government and less and more capitalism. And then that also got messed up, 20 years ago. That was my understanding, but I'm curious to understand if that was.
I think, that's kind of, some people would try to describe the U.S. landscape like that, just using parties as the direct representative of left and right. I don't think it's that simple. Like, obviously, Democrats supported slavery, and then, 150 years later, they're calling themselves the Party of Diversity. But I think it's, if you want to put it specifically in an American lens, trying to say the left or the right specifically supported slavery is hard, because when you look at leftist politics in the U.S., like Marxism wasn't a thing in the 1800s, at least in the U.S. Every political party was aligned on the axis of whether or not they saw government authority as legitimate. There wasn't a monarchy system, so the political alignment that from that point on was completely different from Europe. So I think leftism, the best way you can represent the left in U.S. American politics would be like people who were trying to expand Democratic leadership. I think the Democratic Republicans, like Andrew Johnson, ironically, Andrew Jackson, sorry, ironically could have been seen as to the left of certain political figures at his time, which is crazy to think about. And he was definitely pro-slavery. So it's harder to describe in a specific American sense, but I guess that's one way you can approach it.
Well, I mean, look, the American system predates the current day modern Democratic and Republican parties. You had Alexander Hamilton, who was the leader of the Federalist Party, and you had Thomas Jefferson and James Madison, who were the leaders of the Democratic Republican Party, which was combined, right? Which, if we look back on in history, we would say that those are like, quote unquote, Jeffersonian Republicans, right? But I think it's pretty obvious, and just in name alone, you understand that the Federalist Party was in favor of a very strong centralized government. Alexander Hamilton talked about centralizing everything, even the economy. Alexander Hamilton was talking about some sort of a centralized currency even back then, right? And then, like, from the destruction or the breakdown of those movements, they eventually turned into a Democratic Party, a Republican Party, but also like a Whig Party, and even some sort of like a secondary type of, I don't remember what it's called.
Let me ask you this, right? And anyone else, rather than asking me like what sheep bandwagon do you choose to jump onto, strip away all that shit, right? Like if I was just asking you like, hey, in as simple a way as possible, can you describe to me what laws you are in support of that the government should deploy that would restrict your personal freedom, and also can you tell me like can you tell me where you are comfortable with paying taxes for government spending? Like, just give me answer those two things for me.
My personal position is that the government's number one and most important, maybe even only responsibility, is to ensure my safety. And that doesn't just mean from foreign enemies, but it does also mean from domestic enemies. And not just domestic terrorists, but anybody who's trying to take advantage of me, harm me, steal from me. So it goes to my personal property, my personal body, my intellectual property, and so anything that's going to help further the cause of protection, which includes police, it includes fire, it includes EMS, it includes the military. It could potentially include the money, right? Anything that's going to help protect me.
So I just wanted to rise up because Dope, you had mentioned like liberalism and conservatism, and I wanted to make the note that the liberalism in America we understand today is kind of like not a bastardization, but I guess like a development of liberalism that they added on some like I guess sure. Sure. I get it's a bastardization of what classical liberalism is, ingrained with like some like some cultural Marxist ideologies, like there's always like there's this like power struggle, kind of like everything is like the powerful service of us kind of like dynamics and all like the.
Can you give a good example today?
Now. What was that?
Can you give a good example today of a successful liberalist, of classic liberalism?
What do you mean?
Like you were saying that like America's liberalism is kind of a bastardization. Can you give an example of a successful.
Well, liberalism post like the civil rights movements of the '60s, like the several civil rights movements of the '60s, whether that's the feminist movements, the Black Panther and the Black liberation movements, the gay movements, they've all like kind of like melted in these kind of cultural Marxist ideas into liberalism, which is like what we have today. So like classically liberalism was like we influence like individual rights and liberties. Like now it kind of is geared into like liberals are more like focused on like social issues, like like they're focused on greater causes. This is what liberalism has always been, especially in America.
Can I take a step, Jeremy?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think like it's similar to that of like first wave and second wave feminism versus wave and like introduction to fourth wave feminism, where I think like classical liberalism was developed with the principles of personal freedom. Classical liberalism, which is like I said, like you could look at people like John Locke, I think, is the guy that you look to, and Adam Smith with his free market economics, right? So like personal freedom and autonomy is like the guiding principle of classical liberalism. But modern liberalism, given that like everything that we achieved and accomplished in the 17th and 18th centuries was like largely successful, even after considering the Emancipation Proclamation, now like every American had like been granted this sort of personal freedom and autonomy on paper to a certain extent, at least by like 1964 on paper, everybody has the same thing. Now modern liberalism, which is more like late 20th century, like moving forward as to what we have today, is so largely based on like, okay, great, we have the hard work done. Now let's start doing the even more minor things like reducing economic inequality and promoting social welfare and enforcing like things that are going to help like bridge the gap between the parties that were at one point not so disenfranchised versus the groups that were disenfranchised. But what I feel personally is that like we're seeing some factions, at least, of modern liberals going hard on that issue.
Yeah.
To extremist social, almost to a communistic type of a route. Some people are really like rooting this core of bridging the gap so strong. Like they're basing some of their ideology. That a lot of them are, I think, guiding their inspiration for people like Vladimir Lenin.
I think the United States has always been like we are the nation that's free, like in the 60s.
Well, I have a question.
In the 60s, I think the beginning of your question got interrupted by the middle of my submission. I'm sorry.
Chris, you can go ahead.
But I think
okay.
I think in the 60s we had. I think in the 60s we had a bunch of like people like rising up and being like, well, hey, like, well, America claims to be the land of the free. We don't feel like we're free in X, Y, and Z ways, right? This is a society where like blacks are still like, I guess like the Liberal Party or the liberals have taken on like this, like they want to solve all the problems of the world, but I do think it gets kind of like overreached. Like there's an overreach. Like we're seeing like I think the worst versions of it today, where it's like shit's like getting kind of crazy. But there's a reason why like the Liberal Party has changed or transformed. I don't think it's always for the better, but
it's not so much a liberal party.
Yeah.
The liberal.
Go ahead, Chris. Go ahead, Chris.
Well, and I can't find out, I'm trying to find, I'm, looking, trying to do my research. There's a reason for why we have two parties, but some of it has to also do with the banking system, something to that effect. That was like back in like the 1820s when the Corporation of America was forming. You know what I'm saying? So here's a question I want to know. I want to know if you or Joe can maybe answer this. Okay. Let's say if we were to go sovereign, right? You know, you're concerned for the Corporation of America. Okay. Hold on. Wait. What was I going to ask? How are we going to ask this? Yes. Is it true or is it not true? So if you can only claim this if you, I think, deregister from it. But is it true or not true that our ancestors, on all races, all sides, have already kind of paid? We shouldn't even have to be paying taxes. Like you shouldn't even have to pay for courts or jails unless you really commit like a really heinous crime.
Chris,
is that true or not true?
I hear you because you are in the matrix. Can you maybe paraphrase and restate that?
I'll try one more time. So if you were to just register for the Corporation of America, right? So you're becoming sovereign. Is it true or not true that our ancestors basically already have paid? So we shouldn't even have to be paying taxes. Like if you get charged with a ticket or something, that's not true?
Okay,
you sure?
Your question,
100% is not true.
Should we not be paying taxes anymore because other people already paid taxes? That's your question?
Full group, and there was a lot of information on it. I just can't read it all. I just want to know if that was true or not because I don't know.
I disagree with
I'm still trying to find information.
I disagree with that.
Of course, I hear you, and it's not true. Sovereign citizens and their claims are not true.
Oh.
Don't you be hitting on those sovereign citizen people.
Yeah, Chris, the sovereign citizen rabbit hole is a shit show of an ideology. You can come into the room more often, Chris, if you turn in that pink ticket and you'll listen to somebody like B Master, for example, who was in the room a couple of days ago, earlier this week, or last week rather, maybe on like Thursday or Friday. She was like talking about how she has a small little business and she doesn't believe that it's fair or right that she has to go through the government to register the trailer that she wants to sell her artwork out of. She wants to travel on the road and sell her artwork on the street, but like out of the trailer. And she doesn't think that she should have to register her trailer with the state because it's like
what's your comment for that? I'm genuinely curious because you're agreed for.
By the way, B Master is libertarian, so she believes taxation is
hold on. Louis, what's your take on this?
I didn't bring anything. I just asked a question. I just wanted to.
Yeah, Chris, if your question was about the sovereign citizen article, I think it's a load of dog shit. To be fair, I used to think like that the sovereign citizen argument had some merit to it. It wasn't even that long ago, to be honest. No, like when I was a teenager, I think is when like this whole ideology of sovereign citizenship was just like naturally ingrained in me. For some reason, I heard about the argument one time and it all seemed to make sense. And I grew up believing this, but it wasn't more than maybe like 4 years ago, maybe 6 years ago at most, where like I started to change and I started to realize that there's a reason for the government system that we have. There's a reason that we pay taxes.
So can I ask you a follow-up question to what you said before, really quickly? And Chris, go ahead, Chris, I'll go after. I'll go after.
Hey, real fast. I can question them as to and how are we going to build freeways? I mean, how are we going to do yada yada yada? But they're fine. I guess what I was saying was, you know how like when you go to buy a car, how we use our signatures because of the Corporation of America. We have a certain there's like a backing behind it. Something to do with our signatures, right? When we purchase a home. Because we have those assets or those funds.
Yeah, we make an agreement with entity, and we seal that agreement with a signature.
Correct. That was the argument that they said, when I questioned what they were saying. I mean, I'm still learning about it. I don't know everything.
Chris, to your point, and sort of that was my follow-up question, is that I'm 100% in agreement with your statement that the only laws that should exist are laws that prevent anyone else from harming my personal property. 100% in agreement. So my follow-up question is on taxes, right? And to Chris's point, are you, I'm going to assume you're okay with paying taxes for roads, highways, elementary school, high school.
To an extent, right? I think that the way we pay taxes on these things might be a little fucked up. For example,
how would you change
with the road? Well, like with roads, for example, if my income taxes or sales taxes or excise taxes or whatever are going to go, property taxes, etc. If these things are going to go to the local municipality and pay for the roads, then I don't think that I should also have to pay to park road, because that's also going to the local municipality, and I consider that double taxation. Toll roads, on the other hand, I don't think necessarily are always double taxation, because those don't go to the local municipality all the time, and sometimes those toll roads aren't even built by the local municipality. For example, out here in Texas, right, the North Texas Tollway Association was actually built based on a huge investment by the Saudi Arabian government.
Yeah.
And so if Saudi Arabia is a private investor in roads out here in Texas, and I want to drive on these roads, I understand that the money that I'm paying, some of it goes to the state, but a lot of it also goes to pay back the Saudi government as well.
Yeah,
so I don't think that's the same thing.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. It's a really good point, right? And what you're talking about in Florida is the delta between public and infrastructure spending that all taxpayers are forced to invest in versus public-private or even just purely private, right? Like, and there's great examples of all those spectrum. But when you look at, and I guess again the question I'm asking you, Florida, is like, what are you comfortable paying taxes for that will support something that you personally don't benefit from, right? Meaning, like, if you don't have kids, are you comfortable with paying taxes for public?
I think you should pay for public health, for public education. I think that benefits the surrounding community. I think when kids are educated, they get into the workforce. I think more people, like, I think it's all positive.
Healthcare, though?
It's something I would have an issue with having my taxes go to.
Okay.
But here's my question, I did not know that at all, which is so crazy to me. I want to know why. I want to know why America allowed government or whatever private sector or entity to do that. Because what's really making me think is, we have the government, that's not the government. We're building, like, we put a lot of our taxpayers go into with the military. You know what I'm saying? It's military, but it's not the military. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about?
But Chris, there's no laws in the United States that would prevent, especially an ally nation like Saudi Arabia that doesn't have any sanctions against it. There's no laws preventing them from investing in private ownership or some sort of capital expenditure here in America. In fact, the American government largely supports it because it's less money on the American taxpayer. And so if anybody wants to drive on Texas toll roads, that money didn't have to come out of the American taxpayer's dollar as much. I mean, I'm sure there was some tax money that went into it, to be fair, but like, it wasn't fully funded by American tax money, and the American system doesn't restrict it. So I'm okay with that, right? So Jeremy, to the extent of like schools being paid for with property taxes, I think is the reasonable way to pay for schools. Because it's like, I live in this local municipality, and so my property taxes, which is the land that I own or rent even in this local municipality, are ultimately going to go to the local municipality. It's ideal that the money stay within that local municipality. As small of a government as possible is what I support.
So to understand, just to reiterate what I think you're saying is that I as someone who has no kids, I'm okay with paying cash to support people in my neighborhood who don't have enough cash to send their kids to university or high school or elementary school. I'm comfortable helping to contribute to educating their kids, even if I don't have kids, because their kids are in my neighborhood. And if their kids are more educated, that'll make my neighborhood better. Is that kind of what you're saying? And if you agree with that, why is that any different than saying that should also apply on a national scale?
Well, I think it's interesting. The real question here would be, is it better to take my property tax money and give it directly to a public school for investment? Or is it better to take my property tax money and allocate it amongst the families with children for them to choose where to send their kids?
That's a great question. And I will introduce the third option. Really quick, and then Chris, you can jump in. But a third option is I will allocate my taxes to the best performing institution that delivers the outcomes I want the best. So I'm not going to give it to the crackhead families. I'm not going to give it to the shitty public schools that that produce shitty results. I will actually give my tax dollars to the institutions that deliver the best results, which is educated Americans that go on to be.
Just to finish, the one thing that I don't think it's okay that the federal government be reallocating money from multimillionaires in Southern California or Hawaii and sending that money to, I don't know, South Florida or North Texas or bumfuck Kansas.
So you have an issue about it on the federal level, but not the municipal level?
So that to lift up all Americans rather than supporting Japanese people's ability to have a good economy.
Wait, Jeremy, you're going like 0 to 100.
The government is the best purveyor for, if you're just talking schools. Why do you think the government is the best organization to educate children?
They're not.
Clearly, on a federal or even state, it has clearly shown a massive decline.
Yeah, governments aren't even good at allocating resources. This is why communism and social, like communism.
I don't disagree. Like governments suck.
The idea of just paying taxes and having that distributed has proven that there's unequal outcomes. It would be one thing to say if the kid educated in Kansas was the same the kid educated in Beverly Hills and had the same status. Like that's not
a big deal if every American had the same.
Actually, I think what would be ideal is if you allow more of a private entity to come in. Like, who's to say that, I don't know, a kid wants to go, or you have an opportunity for, I don't know, fucking Dole, like a farming community, Montana.
Sure.
And they say, hey, we can educate these kids, and we can do it at a cheaper rate, and all these kids will owe us is 3 years of labor afterwards. They can come work for us.
That's what I'm saying.
But isn't that better results and more? Hold on, I'm not done speaking, man. Dude, chill. Like, the idea that somehow the government or these local schools with your taxes is the best purveyor to educate, when clearly we have seen private schools far exceed these public school options in every metric, everywhere. Even religious schools far exceed the public school. That's why all of you during the pandemic were
because they get to pick who they accept. It's totally different. They get to pick who they accept.
No, they're pretty open.
No,
Some schools may
Yeah,
not
that
all.
could contribute to it, yeah, but
They can pay to it.
But private schools also boast smaller class sizes, so teachers have more of a like one-to-one opportunity with students. There's a bunch of reasons why private schools fare off.
So here's and by the way, everyone should respect knowledge because he's trying to make clubhouse chillism great again, and I respect that. But Brad, to your point, that what I think you were describing is the difference between outcomes of SpaceX versus Lockheed Martin and Boeing, right? And where you look at the outcomes, where NASA was like, hey, we all of a sudden have like 10% of the budget we used to, but we are still expected to deliver results. Who ended up delivering results? Was it the military industrial complex? Was it the public education system? Or was it SpaceX, aka the private education system that can deliver better results because they're not propped up by shitty government spending? That's what
But the reason it comes down to is that we don't know for our taxpayers dollars are going. We don't know. We have no idea where our taxpayers' dollars are going, period.
Hey, Chris, what do you think that both sides of the U.S. government get together 3 times a year and agree on?
One more time?
I was just asking, what do you think that both sides of the U.S. government, the only thing that they get together and agree on 3 to 4?
I don't know, tell me.
Printing money, taxing Americans, and passing unbalanced budget.
Money, money, money,
It's not even close to being true, but the
Well,
point
why,
is,
Brad? Why do you disagree? Did you disagree that
They
the
get
U.S.
together, like, the idea that Congress, like, in all honesty.
What have they passed besides and then-
Again, dude, you can't lift.
There's more
when you
nuance
Slap
to
that
it
fucking
than you
Canadian
want.
whip. They do a lot more in Congress and the Senate than you actually think. There actually is a shit ton of bipartisanship that actually goes through. You should probably look and see every year what the Congress is actually doing, but it's just a meme that goes around that this is the only time they get together and actually do it.
Why are y'all arguing with a Canadian? What, this Canadian don't know how fucking shit go here? Like, what the fuck?
Don't you start.
Doesn't, and he's anti-American.
Fuck
He's
this
anti-American.
This is the right time for this.
Someone
We're
give
definitely
Kendall a
engaging
bean.
with them.
Someone give Kendall a bean, right?
But Jeremy, to Brad's point.
Why are we discussing tax policy?
There's a lot more nuance to the bipartisan budgets that they ultimately agree on. There's quandaries and quibbles over how the money is allocated and what it's used for all over the board. And I think at the end of the day, the only thing that they really agree on is what's going to keep them both in a job.
Yeah,
What's
exactly.
going to make sure that they both get paid.
Yes, I 100% agree with what you said, Florida. We're saying this.
I'm not trying to go back to the song, like, oh, come on. I can't hear. When people think there should not be a government at all, that we should all just, just totally get rid of government, people are not aware of it. We just create another government. It would be the whole thing all over again. So I just find it funny when people are so. And do you understand what I'm saying?
I actually, yeah, that's why I was done with what you said.
Oh no,
When you say
they
less government is left and more government is right, that's what confused me about what Florida was.
Yeah, maybe I am making, maybe I'm wrong by equating left and anarchy with right and authoritarian. Maybe I'm wrong to make the and conjunct.
John isn't that long
The
now.
most right you can get is you have full autonomy. You have full right to do whatever the fuck you want, as long as it doesn't hurt someone else's personal property. That is ultra right, in my opinion. And anyone that wants to restrict your ability to do that, that's left. That's what I think.
Have you seen the
Wait,
questions?
can you run that back one more time, Jeremy? I'm sorry. One more
Yeah,
time.
one more time. So I think anything that restricts my ability to do whatever the fuck I want, as long as it doesn't hurt your personal property, is left. Like, I think that is the ultimate right position, that there should be no law, no government, no organization that can restrict my ability to do anything I want, as long as it doesn't hurt your personal property. And anything that doesn't do that is left.
Liberalism is, though. That's
No,
the
that's
funny thing,
right.
is this
That's
is
like, that's
this is
super
what
right.
liberals are, or what they were. Like, so it's funny. It's so funny that like what was considered liberal before is now right.
So, Louis, are you pro that or anti that? Like, are you?
I am pro individual rights. Yes, I'm pro. I'm for the least amount of regulations.
And so, would you consider yourself left?
But that's not what conservatism is. So, like, the reason why conservatives go through is that
there are other values, right? There are some communistic values.
Conservatism looks at a long-term
he's
plan.
probably the most conservative in the room, to be fair.
It's more about long-term solutions and slow incremental growth without the least influence from the government, and looking at the local solutions first, or private institutions such as, like, the free market as a possible
right, individual. It's pretty much success from individual success.
These utilizing the gut to change social cultural issues, which is basically what people go through. Conservatives have
basically you build up the individual, and as a result, the collective.
Do you want to just speak and tell me my own opinion, or do you want to just go? You just want to go through?
Yeah. So basically,
I'll let you tell me what a conservative.
Wait, so you're not
a conservative.
Lou, he wasn't done. You just started like yelling over him.
Go ahead.
So again, conservatives don't like the government influencing social issues, social concerns, and they take a longer approach to looking at solutions that exist. We don't believe in fast economic solutions or in policies that are going to influence, resolve conditions that should be handled on a local or necessarily a state level or within a community itself. As far as policies and laws, we don't look at the here and now, which seems to be the more, since the 80s onward, at least the left in this country looks at, like, what can I do now? I need it now. It needs to be done now. And conservatives look at a longer approach and saying, all right, you want to forgive student loans? Okay, we're going to forgive student loans this year. What about next year? What about the continuing years? Are we going to continue this as colleges are going to increase their tuition as they balloon out their administrative states, and now you're going to have kids seeking $500,000 educations, and are we still going to be forgiving that? So for a conservative like me, I look what is going to be the end result, and I look at both positive and negative, and I'm with the realization that there is going to be a massive negative with every policy that the government goes through. I also believe the government is a hindrance in progress. If the minute it starts to weigh itself into the economic solutions of Americans, it starts to inhibit their ability to succeed, which is why people are screaming about their impoverishment, because we relinquish control of our economy to the government and we allow them to go through. Hence the Fed rates. But, that's a longer conversation. Conservatives today, real conservatives, are not really on board. We don't even like the Republicans. Like, we just go along with them because, quite frankly, they're the closest to our ideology. If I had my way,
agree that it's two sides of the same.
If I had my way, I would just basically say, like, first, I would absolutely lock fucking Canada up. I would just say they belong.
Brad, do you support a
But
balanced
I mean, at the end of the day,
I know
would say
that.
right
I
now,
know.
I would have a reduction in budget.
Brad, I know.
So I don't need you talking, dude. Like, again, you have this Tourette. This is why I hate Canadians. Fucking Canadians. I want war. I want to go to war with Canada. I want to burn the Maple Leaf down. I really do. I fucking hate Canadians.
The retarded American urge to want war for small discrepancies.
answer his question. Do you,
No, I
if you're really conservative, then how do you feel, why, then talk about
Thank you.
the balance.
Because again,
Yeah,
like,
Brad
this
is
whole idea that I need to
answering. He's just doing it in a long form, nuanced approach, and clearly you guys don't have the patience.
No,
That's a you problem, not a him problem, right?
well, it's enough problem now.
What
I mean,
is your problem?
It could be a you in the gulag.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Brad.
yeah, you're not scaring me.
So, like, I even forget where I was, but like,
Jeremy asked you, he said, lightning burned down the White House, Brett.
oh yeah, I think we should just burn down back as a whole. But I mean, again,
So I was asking if you support a balance.
So in terms of economics, I actually want to see a reduction in budget. I would actually cut about 40% if I was actually president. I would cut a lot. The social programs that everybody is dependent on, I would massively reduce. I would reform and probably get off that. I would probably
the social programs that everyone's depending on.
Yeah. I would reform the healthcare system, or at least the health insurance institutes, and I would put it into the hands of the states and utilize a combination of what would be considered like a Medicare and Medicaid funding model, but using private entities to help manage that and at least control what the medical industry was going to be doing using value-based pricing. And then I would go through and do a variety of things. I would cut our social deficit massively in terms of our mandatory spending. And if you actually want to know within our mandatory spending, you should look at where we spend our budget, look under the mandatory spending, and then go down to the litany of programs. Project failures of 15%, positive rates, and we pour in millions of dollars into these programs that go nowhere. It absolutely is fucking atrocious. And I would cut a lot of them. And reforming SNAP, reforming Social Security, that's something new. We should have done it. It wasn't meant to be a long-term solution. It was meant to be a short-term fix. It was never meant to be still in place today. That's the problem that you guys don't really understand with the policies that we have. A lot of this shit has been stuck around for a long time without any reforms and without anything else. And all they do is just pour more money into it and put more people on it to keep it afloat.
Would you support a policy or a law that prevented any elected official from being elected again if they voted for an unbalanced budget?
Crystal talking. You know what, go ahead, I was going to ask that question. So y'all talking about benefits, right? Like SNAP and all of like benefits and how it was supposed to be short-term effect with, who was it? Eleanor Roosevelt, right? Who was it? Was it?
Right.
It was FDR.
Okay. Yeah, FDR. So, I mean, primarily, and do you think that ideally, like for example, like this, somebody who particularly speaks to the people who benefit the most from those benefits, do you think that that would be something ideal?
Can you understand her? I can't really hear her.
I can.
Yeah, I can barely hear you, Crystal.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
Go again, Crystal. Just go ahead.
The definition of moderator is arbiter, mediator, so there's no reason to echo the sentiment that we could barely hear her. I was asking Brad because she was talking to Brad. Crystal, can you?
I was trying to explain you. Go ahead. Go ahead, Crystal.
Do y'all hear me?
Now I can hear you. Yes, you're loud.
Okay, I'm outside waiting to be picked up, so it's loud. I was gonna say, I keep saying Eleanor. FDR was the one who started the whole welfare, whatever. And I'm saying now, white people benefit the most from those services and benefits. So if there was something, and I don't know if Brad cares or not, but I'm just saying, would it matter
more because, it's white people who benefit from these, benefits more?
Race has nothing to do with it. If white people are on it, I want them off of it. Like, I want every American off of it. The problem that we have is that they are restrictive in nature. They don't really uplift people out of the poverty rate that they're really in, other than it might boost them up to the next category where we move a magic line and say, hey, you're no longer, poor, and we do this from administration to administration. My goal would be to matriculate many Americans off of this while ending the programs going through. And I think, honestly, at this day and age, the idea of Social Security or Medicare, fine. I could acquiesce to a Medicare program that covered 65 and older, and those that were disabled as a pay for if you were no longer able to contribute to society. But I could end Medicare by doing another program throughout the United States that actually would provide stability without the rising rates of hospitals and hospital conglomerates.
Yeah, how do you plan on matriculating these people? How do you plan on matriculating these people out of like needing these social services?
I think that wasn't even part of the contention right now, Louis. We can get there. That guys, that we can get there, but like don't derail. Hold on.
No, I wanted to build on my practice.
He doesn't need to be holding his dick forward.
No,
say it
Louis,
3 more times, Jeremy.
Stop.
You can hear the first 3.
It's not about me holding his dick, but he's in the middle of.
Bro, he's in the middle of a fucking rant that could go on for 5 more minutes, for all we know.
Louis, but then we're gonna derail the conversation for 5 minutes, for Christ's sake, or we could just.
I have a question about something he said in minute 2. So like, by minute 5, we might all forget about what he said.
Put it in the chat maybe, and to come back to it. Can you write it down on paper?
Can you please just give him a limit, because he goes on forever. Please.
Yeah, no, don't worry. I understand, like, when I feel something is getting dragged out to the point where people are getting repetitive, redundant, I'll definitely start trying to cut in.
That's the same thing.
Yeah, thank you. That's kind of what the role of a moderator is.
I don't even think redundancy should be the criteria. It should just be a time limit. Because you can add a bunch of new ideas and just keep fucking going.
But again, that's a you problem.
Yeah, it is it's an us problem when we all have to listen to him pontificate about.
But when everybody,
we all have questions about something.
You ask me questions, then you ask me to explain, and then you're like, oh, pontification, like you're a fucking.
What did I ask you? What did I ask you to prompt the fucking tirade you were just going on?
Watch this. Watch this. Now nobody's gonna speak for the next 5 minutes.
Wait, what?
Silence is golden. Yep.
Or
now nobody gets to speak for the next 5 minutes. All right, what mic up?
I forget where I was at, but like again, I said we can matriculate, we can build a different pay for healthcare system that is more in line with what the states and the various regions of this country need, along with the populace that exists in them. We can utilize a lot more private capital that exists out there, and thus enriching it. I think we do need to bring back a better education system that is more based on the needs and the regions of the countries, rather than pushing out an expectation of what every kid should do when they get to college, because everybody in this room doesn't even understand why they're sending their kids to college for a $30,000 a year job when they graduate in an economy that doesn't really make sense. So, I mean, there's a lot of factors we could go through. It just depends on which sector of the fucking economy, which nation.
Louis, you got a question for me?
Process out of like needing these social services. How does that look like? What's this like how like what are there incentives like?
Yes, there's incentives. The first thing is I would remove the caps that exist that prevent people from actually earning the income while on the social safety nets in the beginning. I would also remove the restrictions that isolate them and lock them into regions around the country, particularly in their counties or towns or states, not allowing them to move where locations are without the same safety nets, and allow them to actually seek out employment while thus decreasing the amount that they receive continuously until they are actually stable within a course of a year. And that would actually provide a more safety and secure background rather than the all or nothing approach that many of our social safety programs actually take.
I'm sorry, was it just me who cut?
Like the
Brad, did you do something to Cherries? Because she seems to have a bee in her bonnet.
I can't remember. Maybe it was that one night stand. I can't remember.
Cherries, was it the one night?
and I know some people are not going to be happy that I'm asking this question, but when it comes to supporting welfare, yada yada yada, there should be like a limit. Like I don't know how you'd even regulate it. Where stop having so many damn kids if you're already on welfare with so many. I wish that could be regulated a little bit. You know what I mean? Because just overpopulation and everything else. How would it even look?
Population.
Mm-hmm.
We're not overpopulated. We're at a deficit in terms of replacement rate if we don't include immigrants. And we should not even be importing the amount of immigrants we're importing. Because people come over here and have fucking 6 babies, while the average American citizen is likely to have 2 by the time they're 30.
Can I see something go? I'm just gonna ask you a question. Do you think that America should lock, like, ninja style, like the Area 51 lockdown, and at the same time make it super, super easy for immigrants to come in either for 6 months or 3 months to take jobs that Americans don't want to take at, minimum wage that's agreed on by all Americans. And that they have to pay taxes on those jobs and those wages. They don't have access to the majority of social programs, and there's zero path for citizenship for those people. Would you be in support for that?
It'd be interesting to me.
If that's just enforced immigration with still the opportunity to have people come here as migrant workers, which I don't see as a problem. But the problem is we're letting
crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. Ninja style. I don't think most Americans would be opposed to that.
But that America was like the melting pot. That whole principle of America. For everybody, for people to come here from other countries in the name of freedom or opportunities. Okay, so I understand that. But if you go to other countries, you can't. It's hard to buy property in other countries. It's hard to get a visa to even go to England. But in America, we don't have that. I think that's interesting.
But Christy, do you hear what I said? What I was suggesting was a system similar to Dubai, where it's that, hey, if you're a foreigner and you want to come in and take jobs that our wealthy, privileged don't want to take, that's fine. We're happy to allow you to do that. You have to pay taxes. You have a zero path to citizenship because you do that. And you also have a limited access to social safety nets that are paid for by American taxes. I think that if Americans were very open to that would solve a lot of the immigration issues that they're facing today with immigrants who, are invading the country, not paying taxes, doing illegal work. All these problems are a result of not the number of walls that are on the southern border, but rather a problem with the laws that enable these people to come in. Because most Mexicans, like before the 40s, Mexicans would come over to America, work for the day, and then go back to Mexico. And then when it was hard to cross the border, they stopped going home at night. Do you agree? Disagree with that?
I don't know if they went back home every night. I wouldn't necessarily with it.
That's Mexicans in fucking border towns. What about the Mexicans in New Jersey? The Mexicans.
That's 3 month visa, 6 month visa, concrete. Like if you've been to Canada, there's no Canadians. There are very few Canadian citizens that work at Tim Hortons. But it's because we allow foreigners to come in and take these jobs that most Canadians wouldn't take, and they're happy to do it. But there's no path for them to become Canadians.
Yeah,
they come in,
sucks.
they work for 6 months, and they go home. Sucks for them, not for Canadian.
Sucks for Canadians too.
Why? We don't want those jobs. We're privileged. We have enough social safety nets that we don't want.
I'll explain it. It's not that complicated. So just think of your country as an economic engine that it has, however many cylinders, right? And if your population is only running on 6 cylinders, the immigrants come from 1 cylinder, then you're getting more output. You agree?
So I have a question for me.
You agree? Yes or no? Like, hold on, just chill. I'm trying to
Do you
agree? Yes or no?
If I understand your question,
yeah. Look. Just say yes or no. Do you agree? Or just say you didn't understand, and I'll repeat it. I'll help you out. Like, do you agree?
Can I, in 30 seconds, just ask if I understand and answer your question? Is that okay, Concrete? So in 30 seconds, what you're saying is that, hey, Jeremy, if it takes 8 cylinders to fire full performance and your society and your citizens can only fulfill 6, are you cool with bringing in immigrants to take the shittiest of the 8? Those other 2? Yes, I am. Yes, I'm cool.
I didn't ask you that, whether or not you care about it. I asked you whether or not you understand the concept of eking out or getting more economics out of your environment based on people like engaging in your economy. Do you understand?
Yes, 100%.
Happens? Okay, cool. So if it's the case that you are only affording them certain privileges as opposed to like a full suite of privileges like an American would, do you think that they are more or less inclined to continue their investment in your economy and grow their investment in your economy? Yes or no?
I think they will, as long as their home nation reality is lesser than their ability to do it in my economy. So yes, but it's dependent on the quality of. So what I'm saying is, yes, I think that people come from shittier nations than ours will come to our nation and do that, but I don't expect a lot of Swiss or Finns to come to Canada.
You misunderstood. So if somebody is allowed to work in your country, do you think that they would invest more with a limited set of privileges or rights or abilities, or do you think they would invest more with a robust or full suite of privileges? Which of those 2 scenarios would a foreigner be more interested in investing in the country that they are, immigrating towards? Where they're limited in their rights and abilities, or where they're not limited in their rights and
And Concrete, I'm not trying to fuck with you. I'm legit trying to engage with you.
Answer the question.
I'm trying to.
You don't have to give the preamble, just give the answer.
Dude.
Not that hard, bro. It's not a trick question. I got you.
No,
it's just like, what's taking so long to answer the question?
You literally asked 3 questions.
All right. You're running away, bro.
I'm not. You want me to tell you the 3 questions you asked?
You suck so bad.
Say,
all right, I'll go on
mute. Go ahead. Long-form answer. Not everything is going to be cut and dry, and so on.
Do the long form answer. Do you hear, Jeremy? That's all there is long form answers.
I know,
but it's a waste of time.
Might be worth it.
Okay.
Wait, or scotch, whatever your fucking flavor of the night is.
Yes.
I'll be quick. I'll try to be quick, right? Because what I hear you asking is like, hey, for the benefit of Canadians, is it good to let these people?
That's not what I asked you. That's not what I asked you. I didn't ask you about the benefit of Canadians. I gave you 2 scenarios.
Repeat the question.
One scenario, they are coming to immigrate and they have a limited set of rights and abilities. Another, they have a more robust set of rights and abilities. Out of those two different scenarios, which one is an immigrant more inclined to continue and improve their investments in said environments? That's all I've asked you. It's easy stuff that doesn't need 30 fucking.
Fine, if you're gonna use the term immigrant, then yes, you should give the immigrants who are gonna become citizens all the advantages you can to make them successful citizens. Yes, I answered your question.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't.
Which one is more, what?
I just answered the question in 5 fucking seconds. I answered the question, you bitchy. Like, fuck, guys, it's so annoying.
It doesn't make any sense why you operate like this, bro.
Concrete, I answered your question.
Other than you're being evasive because you're afraid of the consequences.
I answered your question in 5 seconds.
Like that people are confused.
What's your criticism of my answer?
Maybe he doesn't like the nature of the question.
Of course, so you didn't like my answer. You didn't like my answer. What don't you like about my answer?
It defeats his stupid argument, and that's why he doesn't want to engage. Like
Concrete, you asked me a question, I answered it. What don't you like about my answer?
Does
Concrete, what don't you like about my answer? Answer the question. What don't you like?
Literally already stated all.
He's saying you're not answering this question succinctly or directly. That's what he's saying. Oh, his question was: would immigrants prefer to go to a country where they're, and correct me if I'm wrong, Concrete, because I was only halfway listening, where they're benefited or where their benefits are unlimited and unrestricted? Concrete, is that correct?
Yeah.
Would immigrants prefer to go to a country where they're limited and restricted or unlimited?
Germany's very easy.
Unlimited and unrestricted. Country and immigration.
Come here for opportunities, period.
And that's what happened. Well, it wasn't close the door to all that other noise. Instead of him just answering.
I have the answer.
All right, so you said unlimited. All right, so you said unlimited and unrestricted. Now go.
No, I think that governments and people who are going to develop the process and the flow of becoming citizens of immigration.
Canadian.
Yo,
that's
yo, just.
I was gonna teach him how to communicate.
We're not gonna deal with your fucking white buffoonery, not the white Canadian buffoonery. I already had to shut down Jeremy's buffoonery. The only reason he's on stage still is because he's white. Don't make him do the same thing to you.
Keep better, that's all.
What I was trying to say is that if the conversation is about how to become an immigrant that becomes a citizen in a nation, that is different than the ease of which you give a work visa to someone who has no advantage of becoming a citizen than someone who doesn't have a work visa that lives in Pakistan. That was the conversation I thought we were having. If you want to talk about how easy it should be for an immigrant to become a citizen in a given nation, let's have that conversation. I don't think that.
You see, Florida, why the long-winded responses are helpful? Because he actually forgets the purpose of the conversation, or why I was opening that door.
He does the same thing with military-industrial complex.
But Jeremy, you're the one that actually made the statement about Dubai and how they restrict people's benefits or benefits. And then he asked that's what.
It's more beneficial to you in your country, in your economic status or economic conditions, if you give them more rights, because that's just going to incentivize them to invest more in your country. It's just that simple.
I just wanted to say something about that because I heard you guys talking, if that's okay. The reason why I disagree with what you're saying, Concrete, is because I'm Canadian, and that did happen with like the Chinese buying and investing in like real estate here. And all that does is raise the real estate prices because like Canadians can't afford to buy homes.
That
So I
doesn't
don't think
that doesn't invalidate my point. That just says that there's negative outcomes that you didn't when people were given the right to buy the country. One second. So, and the awesome thing about it is, even if you were to give a full suite of rights to people at a particular level, doesn't mean you have to offer it at another level, which is to say, there could be like a wealth threshold that you employ, such that maybe the regular guy who comes over and immigrates those menial tasks that Canadians don't want to do, he's benefiting your community. You allow him to like buy a house and send his kids to college. It doesn't mean that you have to grant that to the conglomerate. 1 second, I'm almost done. Doesn't mean you have to grant. I think you get the picture, but I'll just say it anyway for those who don't. Doesn't mean you have to grant it to the conglomerates and the wealthy, sovereign nations and blah blah blah. You get it?
But yeah, but I say that a lot of the, like, specifically I'm speaking on, because when I was in university and I also worked at the bank, I was friends with a lot of Asian women, and a lot of them come over here, and I feel like when we talk about immigration, we see it as like it's only the poorest people coming here, but that's not true. Like in a lot of other countries like India and China, like the people that come over here, they're often wealthy in their country. Yeah. That's the only reason why they made it here. And a lot of them here, and the girls like that I went to school with, they were in school just because it was like a free ride for them to experience Canada. Like they really came here to get citizenship or just to even be a student to be able to purchase and buy. Like it's literally like an investment.
Yeah, so Rich, let me ask you something.
Yes,
if your parents as a Canadian,
actually, that was my point of view, way before this whole question thing with Jeremy started. She's actually bringing up some really solid truth. Like I said, most people, I used to live in Europe. We had to get work visas. We had to pay to be there. You know what I'm saying? Or the companies paid my father to be there, to do these particular tasks. You know what I'm saying? But she does bring up a valid point. If you actually go into a lot of these businesses, and even our farmland, even our housing, we are going through the same problems in America. Yes, we are.
Yeah, so Rich, let me ask you something. So Rich, if your parents were like third-generation Canadians and they bought their house for $5,000 and today their house is worth $500,000 and they decide, hey, I'm going to put it on the market because I'm Canadian, and that this is what's going to make Rich be able to make her kids or his kids successful, and their house doesn't sell, and why it doesn't sell? Because their fucking government put in laws that restrict foreign individuals from buying Canadian real estate. Their government came in and put in bullshit leftist fucking protectionist laws that prevent your parents from selling their house to some Chinese person for $500,000. So the only people that your parents can sell your house to is poor ass fucking shitty Canadian for $300,000. Hold on. And so your parents suffer because of the protectionist fucking laws that prevent foreigners from investing in Canadian real estate. How do you?
Okay, so first I want to say that I'm not against immigration. My parents are immigrants, so like I'm a first-generation Canadian, so I'm not against immigration.
Wow.
So Rich, how do you feel about Canadian law that prevents your parents from selling their house to China? Because Trudeau prevents foreigners from buying Canadian.
She's the immigrant talking about, I hate these damn
I'm not
Chinese.
I never said I hated. I never once said I hated. I was just putting another perspective out there that's actually happening right now in real time. And so to speak back on what I was saying, what they actually did do in Canada was all they did was, like you said, they raised the prices but for a lot of those foreign people, like that's nothing. Like it's just money to them. So it's like they can't afford to buy a $2 million fucking condo. They can't afford to provide all those things because it's just money, right? That's what Canadians, like I can't speak on America, but that's the problem that Canadians are having, because it's like, yeah, you can raise it for them, but they can still afford it.
So your first generation immigrant parents, Canadians, can't sell their property at the price they want, and then that it's actually worth, because the Canadian government prevents foreign buyers from buying that property unless they pay 30% more than anyone.
Yeah, but what's wrong with that?
What's wrong with that is that your parents can't get the money that their property is worth because the government wants to put in protection.
I don't think, okay, so for instance, like immigration happened in Canada in about the 1980s, so everybody that bought it.
Rich, there was no immigration in Canada before the 80s? Come on. Rich.
Maybe not, but I'm talking about specifically from my country. I'm just talking about from what I know. So maybe sure there are more, but what I'm trying to say is from the community that I know, a lot of them, they've already made money on their houses. It's more the millennials that are not going to be able to afford houses. I feel like the immigrant parents that are already here that had like my parents that had me here, they've already made the money on their houses, and that's never going to happen again in our society. The money that they're making on houses, the boomers are making, we're never going to be able to see that sort of increase at all. So if that's the argument, we might as well just stop it now because that's never going to happen again. They bought it at a time.
Well, if the boomers sell a house, where do they move? If they, how are they going to buy another house?
They move to the graveyard.
Well, they pass it down or they just downsize, right? They sell it or whatever the case is.
Well, it's a deadlock right now, so that's the problem. It's just a waiting.
I don't know how it works over there, but usually people in their 80s here, by that time they want to sell their house and then they want to move into a little condo or a retirement home.
It works the same way everywhere. It's called living life. What the fuck?
Well, I don't think so. Some countries don't.
You don't think so?
No.
But concrete, let me ask you
married, they have, wait 1 second, sir. You don't think people get married, they have children, they buy accommodations for those children get older and move out to have their own accommodations, and then once their accommodations are too much for them, such as maintenance and size, they decide that I don't want these accommodations anymore because I don't need these accommodations anymore. You think that's an American thing, or
In some countries, they have people growing up in the same house for generations and generations and generations because it's just a different type of privilege to be able to sell a house. Like, we're not going to act like owning a house is not a big privilege.
Those people still exist, and that dynamic still exists. There's people who have generational houses in America today. I just want to.
You heard the lady. She's not trying to.
I just want to shut up, bro.
But I think the reason why
anyway, so the point very simply is it's a natural phenomenon or Canadian phenomenon about growing and downsizing and what happens to boomers when they downsize.
So I think Rich, why you believe that is the same reason why people think that you should buy a diamond for your wife when you propose to her, is that there are private companies that have built this narrative that this is what you should do and that's what's best. And when you look at your parents and they grew up before 1971 and they participated in an economy that was based on real money, yeah, buying a house was a really good idea. And then, right now, everyone buys a house because they think that's what they should do, when really it's the same thing as buying a diamond to propose to your wife.
That is the most backward thinking I've ever heard.
I swear to God, Jeremy, sometimes you need to know your audience before you speak.
It's not even it. He needs to develop his talk. Stop saying
okay, I know you all hate me. I'm very hateable. Hold on, I acknowledge I'm very hateable. But does anyone understand what I'm trying to make today? Understanding that
having a false scarcity is the same thing as buying a home.
Right. 90% of your loan payments, 90% of your mortgage payment goes towards property.
Who's an anti-capitalist? I'm not gonna think past. I don't like capitalists and everything that's like a capitalistic endeavor. I'm gonna stop.
He's so pro-capitalist. Earlier, concrete. He's just anti.
No, what do you mean? Mortgages is not an American phenomenon.
Mortgages isn't necessarily an American phenomenon, but it is a capitalist one, and Germany looks at anything that is
I love capitalism.
I hate capitalism. He turns his brain off when you do capitalism, making.
He just hates
capitalism.
He can associate with America. So racialism, it's not our fault.
Don't say you're unintelligent for that. It's just you're doing yourself.
Rich, it's not our fault that we have leftist Canadians in the room. It's just Jeremy's fault.
I am so pro-capitalism and anti.
I understand Florida.
Go ahead, go ahead, Russ. Because I'm so pro capitalism and anti fucking government overreach. But go.
Oh, I don't have anything.
No, so I was asking a question like, does anyone understand the analogy that was trying to?
Oh, sorry,
Don't
yes, I
you
understand
fucking
your
tell
analogy,
women what to
Jeremy.
do, you schmuck. You fucking Canadian kike.
Wow.
Jesus Christ.
I do like Florida like once in a while. I have to admit.
How do you feel about the, like, if we canceled, natural, like, if you're born in the United States, you're a citizen. If we canceled that, there would be a lot of, like, Jewish American, citizens.
Cancel what, Louis?
What is it, the, birthright by, just like citizenship by birthright. Like, you're born in the nation.
Gotcha, yeah. Should you cancel that?
No, I'm saying, I think Florida said we don't need it anymore, or like, there's no purpose anymore. But like, was there a purpose like, in the 40s for it?
I think it's okay if you have good border control.
Oh my gosh.
Florida,
You're talking about the birthright citizenship?
yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't think there's any reason for it anymore.
It's
It's overstated as
like,
well.
it was a reason.
There's people coming over here just to get.
In the 40s, where like a bunch of
Boundaries. I mean, your
Jewish
place something in the
immigrants-
boundary.
Are you talking about
Beautiful woman, you.
the Jewish
Hold on, everybody.
Yeah, okay.
who were?
Okay, what?
Yeah, so would it have like in the 40s, was it necessary then?
No.
Yeah, like, but if we take that away, like, effectively, there'd be like thousands, millions maybe of Jewish American citizens who wouldn't have citizenship here.
That's fine.
You think that's fine? Like,
Yeah, listen, let me explain. My family, Louis, did not immigrate to the Americas until right around the turn of the 20th century. It was like 1989 to 1902, I think.
you also would have?
Listen, hear me out. So it was right around that time period, somewhere between those 4 years, where my family migrated over here. I understand that they wouldn't have been able to necessarily and just been issued birthright citizenship.
Was it your
However,
grandparents or
and I listen, and the reason my family migrated here, Louis, is because of the rise of Vladimir Lenin and the Bolshevik movement in Russia. Okay, so I understand why they moved to America, and I understand that there were privileges granted to them as a result of it.
Oh, your parents are Russian nationals.
No, they're Jewish nationalists. No, they're not national. Scratch that. They're Jewish from Soviet Russia.
Okay,
right?
Okay, so,
But
your parents or grandparents?
No, it's like my great-great-grandparents. My great-grandparents. But listen, either way, neither here nor there. Regardless, they moved here from what was at one point, Soviet Russia. So, long story short, I don't care. At this point, though, I'm here, and I'm proud to be here, but I also understand certain things. And one of the things that I understand is that the future of this country is fucked if we continue down the road that we're going down. And the one thing that I feel will even have a modicum of a hope of fixing this downward spiral is limiting access to America and restricting citizenship.
Wasn't there a bill that Congress?
Wait. Yes, I'm here. I'm an American, and I'm a newer American than some of you in this room. I understand that, and I'm fine with that. But the fact of the matter is, the birthright citizenship law is one that has overstayed its welcome. It no longer serves any inherent purpose. It doesn't have any intrinsic benefit. And if it did, then there would be a lot of other countries that would have implemented it around the world since we implemented it. And nobody else has. You have to ask why.
Why hasn't
Don't
anybody else
you think it's
implemented it?
because they bring like a lot of, they still import, I don't know about America, but in Canada, they still import a lot of workers from like the Caribbean and stuff to work on the farm. So don't you think that that's like an incentive for them?
Well, let me explain why we implement.
Hold on, let's not do that again, bro. You've already made this whole historical, like, we heard it 30
Okay,
times.
so
Let me deal, hold on, bro, let the mic go, pause.
Go ahead.
Let me deal with this whole ridiculous claim that we're on a downward spiral.
Go ahead.
Like, and what metric are you appealing to say claim America?
The national deficit,
And that's the fault of
global,
immigrants now?
the global order, the civil disruption amongst Americans, I think the way that Americans are more politically divided, left versus right, or should I say Democrat versus Republican now more than ever, since the Civil War probably.
This is a horrible
The one thing that we need to do is get our shit together, and we need to unite. And the only way that I think that we're going to be able to do it is if we stop accepting new Americans. New Americans are going to continue to bring their own culture and their own ideology and their own.
Jeremy.
That's fine. You can say that. But here's the key. I don't care if these new Americans, where they're coming from, whether it be fucking Ukraine or Israel.
Florida, do you think new Americans is what America
Puerto Rico.
made America?
I mean, Puerto Rico is America, so I'd scratch that. Mexico.
Historically, are new Americans what made America horrible?
What?
Are new Americans what made America horrible? Like, if new Americans are going to make America horrible, do you think that's what made America horrible in the first place?
No, but like I was saying earlier, Jeremy, the only way that we're going to be able to even start combating the federal deficit is by stagnating and or even decreasing the population of this country. And we're not going to be able to do that with unfiltered and
Florida, you believe that with the understanding that the American reproductive rate is less than 2.0, and the only way that the American government can fund what they do is through taxes, and you think that the solution is fewer Americans and fewer taxes?
All we have to do is start switching what we're giving money away for as far as social programs. Maybe start implementing social programs that benefit having a household, benefit having a family, benefit having children. And I see Cherry's down there for some reason throwing her finger down as if giving some sort of a benefit, like the child tax credit, for example.
You are so
this is
democratic, leftist, socialist shit. Are you a communist?
Wait, what is the child tax credit, Jeremy?
Sorry, you want to give poor people money to send their kids to school
Jeremy, that's not what the child tax
The child
credit is.
tax credit is every mom that makes, I think it's under like 60,000 or 30,000, one of those numbers, they get a certain amount of money a month from the government. So if you have like 2 kids, you'll get like $800.
But it's not just moms. It's any household.
Any household under a certain amount of money, yeah.
So the poor people should get free money from the government.
Yeah.
No, I think that it's important that there are social benefits that that reward certain behaviors that
building families and stuff.
Like the immigrants that come to Canada, they automatically get incentives from the bank. So you get like a new to Canada thing. So you'll get like $5,000 or something like that. You automatically get a credit card.
What?
You get good credit, yeah.
That's ridiculous. Hold on, wait, Rish, is that true?
That must be very specific.
I don't know. I work at the bank.
You should definitely. Yeah, it might be refugees.
You worked at, wait, Rish, you worked at a bank?
We work to add all the money
Wait, hold on, Chris, shut the fuck up. Rich, you worked at a bank and you were required to give immigrants new loans.
So I don't know if this was a government thing or a bank thing now as I think about it, but yeah, when you come to Canada, you get like a new to Canada portfolio kind of thing, and it automatically gives you like a certain limit on a credit card. They'll give you like a certain amount of money, a line of credit. They'll help you get a mortgage. Like they do everything to set you up as a new to Canada person.
She's talking, I think it's only refugees. I'm pretty sure it's only Canada, they give the refugees like housing, but they still have to work. They have to do like hard work.
Exactly. So Rich, and I would challenge Rich to give a real example, because even though you're back to the bank, what you said was a lie. And again, this is.
I don't believe it was a lie. No. I don't believe it was a lie.
This is why I laugh, right? Is because Americans let 20,000, undocumented illegal immigrants enter their border every day.
That you want to talk about anything that
I know. And Florida, by the way, awesome modding, brother. Let me go 3 seconds and then jump in, but awesome modding.
Listen, it says, I just Googled new to Canada incentives, and it says a newcomer does not need to do their first tax return before they can even get benefits and credits. So it literally says GST, Canada Child Benefit, all the stuff that you guys are talking about, it's all there.
So they just come over, they get access to credit before they even have to file a tax return, before they even have to work.
But the thing is, the difference between Canada and America, I will say, is that you guys are a lot more patriotic. So like when people become immigrants of America, from my understanding, they don't really support them in still holding on to like their second passport and stuff. Whereas in Canada, we promote inclusivity. So you can come here and they still want you to like, practice all your practices. Like you necessarily lose your former identity.
We don't make them give up their Russian citizenship or their Mexican citizenship or their Israeli citizenship.
I'm going to the conversation again, but Florida, feel free to jump off mic and super mod me any second here. But
I'm not super modding anything.
You are Florida because you fucking come off mute. And
oh my god, because I want to talk.
You fucking want to talk. Go ahead.
I haven't hit the button on this man one fucking time, but he thinks I'm super modding.
Oh my god. So I do have a brief
I haven't sent him to the audience. I haven't used the mute button. All I've done is talked at the same time that he's talking, and somehow I'm super tyrant mod Florida man. If you're super tyrant mod Florida man, then you must really hate Justin Trudeau.
Well, I just want to provide a brief point of moderation. So typically when people make assertions, we do ask that they provide some sort of source, or as I like to say, source up. So if you could provide the link you were reading from.
Selective rule enforcement. Stop.
It is not selective.
All the time.
It is not selective. You just simply repeat
You're right. Well,
yeah,
I can't wait to catch you doing it.
Yeah. So yeah, we just want to be able to review the same information that you're reviewing, Rich, so that we can draw.
He is making this up. This is not even a fucking rule.
I didn't even click the link to what it was. I just literally Googled that, and that was the first thing it even just said. So.
Oh, was that the AI Google results?
What do you mean AI Google? I don't know.
Well, it did.
Well, just did. And because I already know this is true because I've actually done it, I didn't feel the need to go click the link and then follow up because it's like, I know that I'm telling the truth.
No, I
know
think she's saying for the sake of other people,
So it should be easy for you to find the link.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay.
I can just
This is a side beef.
find the link. Very easy.
This is a different beef than the one that Jeremy has with Florida man.
And what do I do with it when I find it?
Post it in the
Just
chat.
drop it in the link so we could all.
Is this white on white?
That's all that's me.
Well, how long you been here? You started booty clapping hard for Florida.
What? That's not what I said.
How
You know what I said
long? Then
You obviously didn't
what
do
did you
what I
say?
said before. And I can't
What
yell
did you
at you
say?
right because I'm
Hey.
Okay.
Well, it sounds like you wanted Florida to mute Jeremy.
as a reasonable
We're talking
black
currently about.
Here comes Sodali talking over Florida. He knows a lot.
Not mod Jeremy. I didn't mute him. I didn't send him to the audience. I've done that to any of you.
I told Florida to
I
throw
muted
some
the
balls
room
and
on a couple of
Yeah,
occasions.
but Jeremy wasn't the one who was wrong. Florida was
I
wrong.
already read this.
So I was asking you, how long you been here? Because you were booty clapping Florida.
Watch me be super mod Florida man to try to get the room in order again. This is crazy how fucking scared I am.
Just
But,
didn't Florida didn't want to do it, but
So Rich just posted the link in the chat, which I've posted above. This is the benefits, credits, and
Yep.
taxes for newcomers to Canada.
And it says in the link, newcomers are permanent residents. You don't get permanent residency as soon as you cross the border. That takes years, that's a process. And refugees. So it's not just like they're just handing money out to people.
It's pretty
You can
easy
file,
to get
all it
permanent
means is
residence in
file
Canada.
taxes. You can file taxes and get credits as a Canadian, as a Canadian citizen once you're a permanent resident, which takes years.
So you messed up. We're talking about America.
No, we're talking
No, I was
about.
talking about Canada, sorry.
Yeah, she was talking.
So it wasn't at all like she said.
Yo, you're gonna let Jeremy get in there?
It's exactly what she said.
Jeremy does have
Oh my
Because you guys have never, maybe you've never immigrated to another country. It isn't, you cross the border and you're a permanent resident. That's not how it works.
Jeremy, are you gonna try to make your point again?
Some like Canadian.
Welcome to journalism. You're gonna have to fight.
Florida, can you not interrupt him when he makes
How
his
easy is it
point?
to get a green card in the States? Because I feel like that's the equivalent of permanent residency in Canada. And I feel like a marriage can do that, school can do that, like so many things can do that.
And that's also
It's
not
very easy.
even so. And that's another misconception people have. It's not instant. You don't get married. Oh, and now they're a citizen. And people have even, yeah, you guys
But
are.
before you become a citizen, you'll get your permanent resident, you'll get a PR card before you
Yes,
become a citizen.
there's all sorts of things you have.
And that's almost
that.
immediate in some
You
cases.
get a green card and then
Snap your fingers.
apply for citizenship. Yes, we understand.
Yes, in that application, they do, I'm not sure if they were doing this before, but I did see that a law was introduced, and actually it was in the Supreme Court that, like, we don't have to approve the citizenship of your spouse. If your spouse had a criminal background that could make them dangerous to the American public, and I approve of that.
Or if you have the citizen have a criminal background, or if you don't make enough money and maybe they have enough money but they can't prove it, because it's in a different language, it's in a different system. There's all kinds of things that can happen and people just have no idea. They have no clue.
I just feel like Canada's just not
There
as
you go,
strict as
Jeremy.
I think we are. Because I've seen situations where people have gotten deported and come back, and it's like, how is that even a thing, right? So it's like, I don't think we're as strict as you guys think we are.
See what you did, Jeremy?
Yeah, the point I was trying to make was that when America.
I just want to interrupt him. I'm sorry.
Okay, you get points for that concrete.
No, go ahead. Sorry. Couldn't help it. I could not help it.
I know, I would have said that.
Gotta go, Jeremy.
Yeah, come on, Jeremy. Quit being a Canadian pussy.
When my God, Jeremy, hold on. Assholes. Okay, the point I'm trying to make is this. If America is going to let 30,000 Mexicans and Arabic terrorists and all the other horrible people cross your southern border every day,
You don't have
and you're going to let them, hold on, you're going to let them clog up your court system, you're all going to pay for that with your tax dollars, you're all going to be comfortable with that. And at the same time, every, communist, socialist, first world fucking, Canada and European nation has 100 times more strict border policy, right? And we'll kick the fuck, get the fuck out of our country if you cross our border illegally, and we're going to force the fuck out of it. And the only way to become a citizen in Canada is to either be really smart or have a fuck ton of money. No lotteries, no if you've been here for a long time, you can come. No. Either be rich or fucking smart or get the fuck out. That's our policy. Your policy is like, oh, we've got lotteries, and if you come in, illegally and you've been here for 3 years or generations, all I'm trying to say is that you guys' leftist fucking, open policy is fucked. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay, great. You say it's fucked, and then I'm gonna ask you, how is it fucked? And you're gonna say, well, it has these qualities, and I'm gonna say, okay, so what? And then what is your response going to be to, so what about these
But he was
come
wrong.
over here?
That's the thing that's fucked, because you let anyone into your border.
I want to make sure, I want to, sorry.
Canada has the 8th largest immigrant population in the world. Like,
But let's just grant him. I don't mind granting his argument because he wants to make a critique.
but no, like the idea that Canada has the stricter like fucking policies is.
It might be fantasy world, I don't know, but
I'm illegal immigrants that come into Canada from the US every month?
Look, that's what I was about to say. Like, what? What's
it doesn't have to be equivalent.
I'm asking Brad a question.
It doesn't have to be the same numbers to be a
No,
problem.
per capita, not numbers, per capita.
Okay, great. I don't know why that even matters.
It matters because per capita makes it equal.
The per capita numbers could be different, such that it isn't as much as America per capita, and it still is a problem for you, right? Because
less
you
of a
look at it
problem
on
than it
different.
is for America, per capita.
We can agree to that, but you try to make it seem like no problem whatsoever.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that your policy.
But that's a side issue.
Ours.
Look, that's a side issue, and I do think you were given an impression that your borders were sealed, and Brad thankfully gave us a better perspective, which is to say,
yes, I said ours are more sealed than yours.
Maybe, yeah. Now look. It seems like you're being more reasonable, and thank you, Brad. Right? So now let me just say this. So when you give us the characteristics of our open border, I'm gonna say, so what? And so when you tell me there's 20,000 people coming over there every day, and some of them are rapists, some of them are getting Medicare and Medicaid and food stamps, I'm gonna say, so what? What is your response?
My response is that in Canada, they don't come over illegally. They come over
care.
But I know you don't care.
Why I should care about.
Let me tell you why you should care. Can I tell you? Can I tell you why you should care? Because when those people come in Canada, they do it legally, they pay taxes. Hold on, I know you don't care, but let me tell you why you should care. Because when they do it in America, they come over illegally. They drain your social services that you're paying for as a taxpayer. Yeah. That's why you should care. That's why you should care.
Look, I told you.
So let me answer again. Let me answer when you're so what. Don't answer. You're asking me a question. Concrete. So what? Here's the answer. So what? Wouldn't you prefer if illegal immigrant workers in America were illegal?
Care.
You don't care.
Tell me why. Yeah, I don't care. When
you don't care about illegal immigrants.
Look. When I go about my daily activities and my list of priorities, I don't care about illegal immigrants and whether or not they fucking got here through the fucking border or whatever the case. I don't care about their paperwork. I don't care about their taxes. I don't care about any of that. I really don't.
So
now, look, bro, listen, just calm down, bro. So, since it's the case that you're saying we're in a fucked position as Americans, given my attitudes and my recognition of all the complaints that you're making about the immigrants, do you have anything else that you would like to say?
Yes, I do.
On this topic?
Concrete things that everyone in the world should come
Please don't give me a summary.
American.
Look.
That's what you're saying, concrete, because you don't give a fuck. Everyone should come and benefit from America's,
like, this is sad.
That's what you're saying, concrete.
Jeremy, it's sad because you could engage and you could offer
what you're saying.
Why
Jeremy, care about illegal immigration. Tell me why I should care. I'm telling you why you should care.
You could offer a persuasive reason as to why an American such as myself who is going to be
that's why you should care.
1 second, sir.
Don't you care about that, concrete?
Oh man, you're not gonna stop arguing.
Are you happy to pay for those illegal immigrants?
I don't care.
You don't care? Anyway. You don't care that you get taxed to pay for those immigrants? Wow.
I don't
care. You're a fucking communist.
Taxes anyway.
Go move to China.
Jeremy, you know what I figured out about these issues? When you focus on making more money, they don't become that much of an issue. I'm
But
so
you were such a communist, man. I didn't know that about you, Concrete. Thanks for sharing.
All your emoting isn't gonna help and all your over talking.
No, but Concrete, let me engage. Concrete, let me engage. Let me reset.
Florida man,
I do love you. Sorry, hold on. Can I reset? Can I reset? Can I apologize?
Capable,
Be nice here.
willing.
I will forever going forward pronounce the letter Z as Z. Just as the concrete for this conversation. I will say Z going forward, concrete. Concrete, can I ask you something?
Why when Florida man did it to you, and here you are constantly doing it to me. It's weird. But you know what I realized? You don't. What I realized, you don't have an argument. You don't have a strong argument. You're gonna appeal to emotions. You're gonna appeal to pettiness. You're gonna appeal to all of these like stupid human fucking let's call it buttons, right? And I don't have those. I'm sorry. And a lot of Americans who are just busy fucking making shit happen, they don't give a fuck either. Guess what? Our government doesn't give a fuck. You know why? Because they are playing chess, not checkers. You are very good at Connect Four or checkers or some other like very simplistic game, right? But if you're like in American government and you understand how immigrants make your country better and you write reports constantly how immigrants, legal and illegal, make your country better, they don't, that's why they don't like listen to people crying about it like you. They don't give a fuck. Why? Because America is a business and a family. And what they realize is, yeah, the family might cry, the family might complain, but we still gotta motherfucking keep these lights on. And you don't seem to understand that. You don't understand that. And if you look at, let's say, different companies or different countries as competing companies, some companies, they acquiesce to the will of the fucking people and they lose money because of it. And then end up in bankruptcy, which is why I looked at your military, 68,000 fucking people. This is laughable. You want immigrants to come there. You want them to feel like they're Canadian. And guess what? Maybe they'll start joining your military. And you'll only think about that when it becomes a real issue. When somebody actually is knocking on your door trying to take all your stuff. Very simplistic, I think. Anyway.
Send us your week and your parse, or what is that American?
You're tired, you're poor, you're huddled masses.
Yeah.
Thanks, Chris.
Now it should say we're closed for business temporarily. We'll reopen soon.
Particularly the Canadians.
I think what like when people talk about the population problem and the reproduction issue, I think that's something that doesn't get enough attention. And when we talk about immigration, legal immigration versus illegal immigration, and its role in the economy, I think that's something that has been politicized and like the left and right extreme conversation points on the topic has been inflamed, and I think the real solution is in the nuance, but I think it's something worth discussing.
Yeah, and you haven't given us a reason besides like some stupid jingoistic type of fucking, oh, your taxes are gonna go up. Motherfucker, our taxes are always gonna go up. You think an immigrant coming or going is not gonna stop that? Is gonna stop that? No, of course not. Why? Because we have an endless amount of fucking need. An endless amount of fucking infrastructure that is constantly deteriorating, endless amount of external threats that are constantly needing fucking to fight against, so on and so forth, right? So you think, oh wow, bro, your taxes, the solution, get rid of the immigrants. You sound like Florida man, who said, oh, we have a deficit, therefore get rid of birthright citizenship. We have, disagreement between Democrats and Republicans, therefore get rid of birthright citizenship. We have social unrest in communities, get rid of birthright citizenship. This is like really bad thinking. I don't know.
That was not my position. You understand, not concrete. What I said was that I think
that far off. It's just as silly.
But concrete, you do understand that what I was saying was that I am fully supportive of birthright citizenship as long as you have a.
No, it's just an analogy, bro. You don't have to switch your focus to that so that you can say, yes, I'm in agreement when the real issue is about immigration, illegal immigration, right? Stay focused on.
So if we want to talk about illegal immigration, everything I have said tonight is that it should be like not tolerated. You should have zero tolerance for illegal immigration. And America has way too much tolerance for illegal immigration. That's the only point I'm trying to make.
Giving us a reason why it shouldn't be tolerated, other than really silly, childish talking points. Your taxes.
I'm sorry. So concrete.
Your social services, bro. Your taxes, bro. And again, I don't think. One second, sir. I don't.
I'm asking a question.
Shut up.
Answer my question. Are you pro illegal immigration?
Yes. I don't care. Yes, I'm for it. Bring your tired, your huddled masses, so on and so forth. Now, I'm gonna go back to my point, right? Because you thought that was a gotcha. You're so childish. I already let you know that would never be a gotcha. I already indicated that. Anyway, so the point is very simple. I don't think you have the slightest idea of how illegal immigration affects our taxes. I don't believe that if you were to try to parse out the effect of illegal immigration on our taxes, I'm sure you haven't read any studies. I'm sure if you did read those studies, you didn't commit a memory. And I'm sure you're probably going to try to like Google search now. But go ahead. Do you have a response as to how much our taxes are affected by illegal immigrants?
No, I do have.
No, let him answer. Go ahead, let him answer.
He can answer. I just have a quick point.
You're helping him get more time to research instead of answering.
Let me do that.
You're giving him time to research instead of answering.
Concrete, she's
and he's taking it.
Anyways, you might as well just let her do it because you're.
Yeah, so it's so stupid that she's just the same. That's sad.
I'm not trying to.
You are. You're a weirdo.
What I wanted to say is that in this moment, I'm viewing all the pink tickets as illegal immigrants.
Wow, this is childish.
Why don't you want to fit in?
Concrete, you see it? All of that just to say that.
They're weird people, bro. They're weird people, man. Just weird people, man. They gotta protect whiteness. It's crazy.
I agree, it's a weird thing, but it's a commercial break.
Yeah, I just want.
This ain't no commercial break, bro.
Come inside.
Child, you gotta stop cooling. Charlie, stop cooling. I don't want to come inside.
Pause.
Ew! Join the fucking house! It could have been that easy.
There's a little Def Leppard for you. Alright, Jeremy, answer Concrete's question, son of a bitch.
I totally forgot this question. Concrete one more time.
Wow.
No, not
I get cut off after 3 seconds.
Give it to him, Paul.
Another 5 minutes, Concrete, so I get cut off after 3 seconds.
Jeremy.
Hold on, Big Vag.
No, I'm telling Big to go because Big is going to demonstrate that he heard what Jeremy didn't hear.
I said what I said. Why
always glazing?
I will answer what the tax implications of a weak immigration policy is, but go ahead.
No.
Go ahead, Big.
Jeremy, we don't want to give you more time, okay? Because these people are out of time.
Yeah, time's
in
up.
the house.
Fuck.
Take White Bills RS. You're out of time.
Okay, I'll answer really quickly. So the cost to the American people of a weak immigration policy is the cost of supporting all of these catch and release immigrants that cross illegally, all these like not legitimate refugees, but like I'm gonna apply for refugee status.
Just give us a number or a percentage, whatever you can. Go ahead.
The cost of building.
Or just say I don't know. Just say you don't know. Just say you don't know, bro. It's easier that way. It shows you have some integrity as a man to admit that you don't know something. Can you try that?
I'm sorry, I do appreciate it.
Can you try that?
If you give me more than 30 seconds, I'm down. But if you jump in after 7 seconds,
amount, 3 trillion, or a percentage, 1% of your taxes, or I don't know. Because all of that other bullshit is not, like, come on, bro. You're not clever, you're not slick. Come on, please. Even though Charlie wants to help you, right? Do you have an answer, yes or no?
Look, I'm just a woman. I'm just here to promote the house and the Discord.
And he
which is
paused
End Up
long
Talk.
enough to give her.
Join the Discord. Join the Discord. So that they release me from
Jeremy,
my
are you
shackles.
this dishonest, bro? Are you this inept in defending your position that you have to like resort to this?
They won't feed me unless we get 3 members a day.
It's sad.
I just want to eat
It's true. Talia's job is on the line. She's on a quota system. She needs 90 new Discord members per month.
Nigga, why you not on a quota system?
She needs 90 new Discord members.
Nigga, why is it only her on the quota? Why you ain't on no quota?
She needs, because I'm white.
You bandwagon glazing.
So if you join the Discord, just post in the chat reference
I
code.
got a problem, bro. Crystal's a mod too, cause she was glazing Nathan. And we got Florida because he's white, and you know they can like white people.
Talia,
come on, man.
R-us, and she'll get her credit towards her quota.
You know what?
Yeah,
Man.
where you gonna miss Bill of Rights, man?
Shit is crazy, bro. Hey, look, Jeremy, look, I know you just, Ford, you really want to,
Yeah, I'm not gonna just give this man a fucking free reign rights to speak when he's got a pink ticket.
Yeah,
Florida. Hold on. I've been waiting for this, man. I've been waiting for this.
I actually hear your point that you're gonna make, man.
Florida.
What point were you gonna make? Before you get into the coonery, what point were you gonna make?
Yeah, Jeremy, I wanted to, it's different, it's a different discussion. But in Canada, right, the housing situation due to the Chinese and incoming Chinese immigrants, don't you see that as like do you see that as a problem, yes or no?
That's a super leftist position, Vic. I think the laws that the Canadian government have put in place that prevent the free market to take place and prevent foreign investors from buying real estate in Canada is bullshit. It's absolute bullshit fucking leftist policy. It shouldn't be allowed. Do you believe that there should be free market? Do you believe that someone that has an asset of value should be able to sell it to whoever the fuck wants to buy it? Or do you think the government should come in and prevent a person from selling their asset to whoever the fuck wants to buy it?
There should be as few regulations as necessarily possible.
Yeah, exactly. Hashtag less government. Hashtag Florida. You're left and right. Shit.
This gets on something I wanted to ask earlier, if I may interject. I realize Jeremy's position, mine is different, but I'm wondering, to the room, how do you all feel about a foreign government buying up farmland, or like the Saudis that have bought our main oil refinery, which affects prices globally? That includes...
Jerry, can I ask the same question and say it a different way?
Okay.
How do you guys feel about the
Jeremy.
government introducing laws that prevent you from selling to those people?
Wait, I just wanted to
They're buying with new homes. They're not buying with used homes. Like, if we're gonna keep it real, they're not coming here and buying our parents' old homes. They want all the newest high rises that are $2-3 million that nobody.
Not only that, Reach. Not only that, the prices were high. I'm pretty sure I have looked into this
I'm just
before.
finish my point with Jeremy before you guys like.
I'm pretty sure that the prices in Canada, but this is a situation in the U.S. too, and it's a situation for island nations as well. They do not allow it. Most island nations, they're not going to allow some foreign government to buy up their whole island.
Yeah,
okay?
and you can't
and so you have to think about it the same way. But they have the
make a
issue
point.
with
Can we
the
wrap
high
this up?
prices before they put that in place, even before they put that in place.
All right, you know what's cool? I'll ask another time, man. It's just.
To be honest, Big,
We're bought out by private entities, you know,
it
so I don't know
wasn't
what
so
this
stupid
conversation.
when I was modding more actively, but we had anarchists like Jeremy and Concrete that wanted to rebel.
I mean, Florida, you be glazing sometimes, man. It is what it is, man. This is the result. Stop glazing.
You want to write off active
Florida, if you wasn't bandwagoning and glazing, this wouldn't happen, man. This wouldn't happen, sir.
That's so crazy.
That's all. That's all, bro.
All right, Big. All right, Big.
You know what I'm saying?
Go back.
Just
Go
get
back.
some more.
to Mother's Basement,
Get some more. Get
Go
some more
back to
character.
Mother's
I
Basement.
don't live with my mom. Why does everybody
Go
think
back
I
to
live with my
Mother's
mom?
Basement.
I don't live with my mom, bro. But look, man, you gotta stop bandwagoning and glazing, man, and get some more character. You know what I'm saying? And then people
Glazing. Have you thought
It
about
means
that, Vic?
you said what? So
What
glazing
if he
basically means that
enjoys
he's
glazing? What if that's like one of his favorite pastimes?
Is that only done in porn movies? What the fuck is this kid talking about?
what you said, Brad? Wait, what? I didn't hear
What the
you said.
fuck is glazing? Because when I
It means he's a bandwagoner, Brad. He just rides on people on bandwagons. He doesn't really actually has his own input. You get it?
Gen Z speak. You
You
don't
get it,
have
Brad?
to take it seriously.
I'm Brad.
It's
Yeah,
red
Brad.
ticket.
Brad.
It's red ticket speak.
The longer you hang around
Yeah.
with seniors, the more you're going to realize that they are actually very uncreative and they just choose to recycle.
Hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on.
You need to
Create new
assimilate.
meanings for old words.
So hold on. We got Talia the cool millennial in Florida, the bandwagon millennial talking about Gen Z's not creative. Two corny ass millennials talking about we're not creative.
That's what I'm saying,
That's the
right?
corny ass
All the
big
Gen
ticket.
Zers
This is
do
crazy.
recycle
This
words
is
and
insane. This is what I
create
mean when I
meanings
say
for the
you're a
right
glazer. You have no character.
But
And then Talia is a
new
coon.
word, the new
You're
meanings
riding
for
on
the old
Talia's
words are based on
foolishness. What are you talking?
uneducated position.
This is crazy.
Because
And you say a whole bunch of
don't have
word salad.
education.
You say a whole bunch of words.
What
salad.
is word salad?
You're not educated.
Why y'all arguing with a fucking kid?
Oh my gosh.
Honestly,
Oh my
Get
gosh.
this nigga the fuck up out of here. Get that fucking 12-year-old the fuck out of here.
It's allowed to be in children.
Get on your mammy's titty, bitch.
Yeah.
Shut the
Up
fuck up. Go to sleep, bitch.
Don't
Past your bedtime.
Hold on. Here's another
You
millennial.
got summer school to get ready for tomorrow.
Here's another dummy
Summer
millennial.
school, summer school,
Here we
summer
go.
school, summer school.
Hold on, wait. This is how I know you're dumb.
Outta
Summer
here.
school
This
is
is how I know you're dumb. Hey, dummy, of course you would know about summer.
Oh,
I do apologize for kicking off the training.
What's up, John?
If we could get back to the topic.
Only real black.
John, what's up, dog? I saw you hit me up in the back channel about a job, and I'm interested to hear more about it. Get back.
Yeah, hit me up when we talked about
I did. I fucking responded to you. You never got back to me. If you still got my phone number,
Glazing Florida.
I might still have your phone number. Actually, let me check. I can just text it.
Yeah, I have it. I checked yesterday just to see how I get a hold of you. So yeah, I'll call you.
Wait, I'm not confused though. Glazing meant something else.
Yeah, it looks like I lost your phone number at some point. So yeah, just text me or give me a call tomorrow.
Yeah, 100%. I got you.
All right, back to reality. Rabbit stone.
I'm gonna get going. Thank you guys for letting me come in here and share with you guys today.
Oh my God, Chris! Thank you
Chris,
so much
thanks for coming.
coming.
And don't
We
let-
appreciate your
Don't let
presence.
Florida man talk shit to you.
I'm not talking shit to this white
And
queen.
you took it.
Concrete.
You
know
should
what?
take it.
That she's
You know what?
amazing.
While you would
Her
Here's the deal about
hyper
here's the deal about these public platforms. If you know, it's almost like a given when you come into these rooms, and if you can't take it, then maybe you shouldn't come in them. So I don't really give a shit. You know what I mean? I love people. So I don't really give a
Chris,
shit.
if Florida had the chance, he'd glaze you all night long. I promise you.
I like glazing. If I knew what it meant, maybe I want to be glazed.
Brad, come on, you can't. I get you just
Glazing is associated. Glazing is.
When I was, listen, Junior, when I was a kid, glazing meant you nutted all over her face.
Oh, bro, no, that's some white boy shit, man. Chill out. God damn.
Glazing actually is related to the fenestration industry, which is going to be
Chris,
windows and adding.
Don't listen to Brad. All
Adding glass to different frames is called glazing.
What about the donut?
Shut the fuck up.
What about the donut?
Putty around
But
windows.
yeah, donuts.
Look it up, fenestration.
Respectfully, Brad may be implying that I think you're pretty hot, and I do. That doesn't mean that I would be so disrespectful as to want to glaze you.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
Florida, she
Let's
said
just
she
get back
wanted
to
to be glazed. What part did you miss there?
I didn't catch that part.
Am was funny. It was just like I said, maybe I want to be late if I knew what it meant, is what I said.
Brad is
Well,
projecting.
If you do, then hit me up in the back.
Not the back, Joe.
Wait, you think
Y'all are fun.
have we defeated the
No, I just
dishonest
can't-
Canadian?
I just wanted to talk about, stuff. I can't go back and forth with Jeremy about immigrants. I mean, it's just like, it just kind of like started to like make me feel like I'm like heavy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, some people like to argue on the internet. So.
This is why we don't like Canadians, Chris. Have you figured that out?
I don't like everybody from everywhere. I don't like everybody in every race. I don't like everybody from every country. I just like to be with those who I resonate with. I don't limit myself like that. You know what I mean?
No.
There's also one quick question for Terry. Like, do you, I feel that you're in support of the Canadian government restricting foreign investment in Canadian real estate. And what the point I'm trying to make is that I think that's anti-capitalism. Like, I think if you own an asset and it's worth more and someone in the world is willing to pay a price for it, regardless of where they live, you should have the freedom of selling that asset at the price it's worth. I don't think your government should restrict the value of that asset.
You may find this surprising, Jeremy, but I've already said multiple times, I already know your position, that you're against that.
That's a horrible take, though.
Jeremy, do you agree or do you disagree? And if you disagree, I want evidence that the prices were rising exponentially before the Canadian government. Because when you were responding to Riche, you were saying her parents had to pay more for their mortgage or their home price because of this legislation in Canada. But I know for a fact that the home prices were skyrocketing because of foreign investment before they started limiting foreign investment. Do you agree or disagree that the home prices were already skyrocketing before this went through? Yes or no?
I 100% agree that they were skyrocketing before. 100% agree. And what I disagree with, Terry, just to be clear, but just to be clear, Terry, what I disagree with is the Canadian government intervening to prevent that from happening.
I don't
That's what I
know
disagree with.
the legislation. I don't know the details of it. I understand there's some loopholes as well. So I can't say that it's perfect legislation, but should there be any government interference in foreign investment in some cases? Yes, I do think so. And I was making the case for, there should be limitations at least on foreign governments buying up farmland, buying up oil. I definitely feel like there should have been in the U.S. Some sort of intervention when the Saudis bought our main oil refinery. Definitely.
So can you tell me why you support that anti-capitalist position, Terry?
It's not anti-capitalist, Jeremy.
It absolutely is. It's concrete. Anytime the government comes in and prevents the free market from acting, it's anti-capitalist.
I can explain to you why it's not anti-capitalist. It's very simple.
It's not pro-capitalist.
And now, one second, ma'am. Calm down. It's not anti-capitalist because capitalism isn't a form of government. And all governments are the entities which institute or allow whatever economic system you want to have, i.e. feudalism, i.e. mercantilism, or socialism, so on and so forth, right? So they're all going to be operating at the behest of the existing government, just like the same way that capitalism does. So it's not anti-capitalism. Excuse me, sir.
I'm asking you a question. Excuse me, sir. Let's not have a conversation.
Excuse me, sir. Please allow me to land my plane, please. So this is the case that if it would be more affordable to put like less, since it's the case that it could be more affordable.
I'm tired of these motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking.
Since it's the case that you could have.
Why are you projecting your mother's fucking problems onto me?
Heavily. Yeah,
just because your mother was drunk at this time
you were
doesn't
also
mean I
controlling
am.
the conversation for your own
Stop
enjoyment.
blazing the conversation.
Anyway, so like I was
Stop
saying
blazing.
for this weirdo,
All he does is just fucking shit
is
all over.
capitalism still
Just straight
operates
diarrhea
through
all
the
over the fucking
departments.
stage in front of everyone. And just walks away. He doesn't need to grab a fucking.
Let him make his
Tally
point.
doesn't know how to do what she's supposed to do. She's
I
like
can do
retarded.
exactly what I
You're
need
supposed to
do.
be the man, Florida. Don't defer to some
What?
weirdo woman in her emotions. Like, come on, bro.
In my
You know what you need to do to
I
make
had
this
a
shit
couple
work.
of anarchists.
You know what you need to
decide
do to make this shit
roll,
work. You don't
and
have
I
to fucking
decided
lick your
to try to
wounds.
appease the
You
room.
don't have to lick your wounds
And
because
it
people
turns
tell you
out
to
that that
pull
was a
back.
bad decision.
I'm
in
pretty-
Now we are. Anyway,
Could you just make your
obviously,
point?
obviously,
Bad
One
decision.
steel concrete.
inebriated when they come to work. That's
So
fine.
he has to
This is not a
work
real
hard.
job. This is actually just the internet.
Yes.
So the whole point, to land my plane very quickly, because there's obviously idiots on the loose. Idiots are on the loose.
Oh no,
Is to say,
oh no.
the idiots are on the loose. Oh no, the zombie idiots.
Feet to fucking pass, but somehow everybody else passed it.
Don't
Oh
retract
my-
those wheels. Don't retract those wheels. Put it back.
All right, everybody shut the fuck up. Okay, I know we're supposed to be having some sort of a decent conversation. We've been having somewhat of a decent conversation all night.
Womp
For some
womp,
reason-
cry about it, Florida.
For some reason, we are devolving into degeneracy after
It's
midnight.
1 a.m. It's 1 a.m.
It's only
The
12
streets
a.m.
come out at night, babe.
Yeah, just let Concrete finish what he's saying.
Fuck concrete.
Thank you.
Suck my dick,
Get
cock.
Get that.
We know you're a fool. We know.
Suck my
Tase that
dick.
Somebody tase that girl. Anyway,
It's
so
me.
Jeremy, you
Hi.
can clearly.
I'm the one that moved you. It's me. Go ahead.
Okay, all right, thank you. Jeremy, you can clearly understand why government regulation is going to exist in any economic system that you use, and capitalism is no different. So if they wanted to have a regulation on foreign investment, it's still within capitalism, just not some pure capitalism that you've envisioned in your mind, right? Something that you've imagined. Because if that's the case, that governments didn't exist, the capitalists would be doing all kind of shortcuts. All kind of buildings would be collapsed.
Let him land, Josh.
No, guys, go.
All
Guys,
kind
go.
of buildings would be collapsing if they could get away with providing a product without government regulation and engineering standards and
Yes.
so on and so forth, right?
What you
It's
said is
just
right.
like all your food would be poisoned with all kind of Talia fecal matter,
Yes,
and
100%.
shy hair matter all over your food products, right?
100%.
Such that you would be fucking, terminally ill or hurt, right?
Again, I think what Concrete said is really important. He's right, and that was the point I was trying to bring up with Florida before. And I think that's the interesting conversation topic, which is like, hey, if you're fine with the idea that there should be no law that restricts your ability to do what you want, other than if it prevents someone else from harming your personal property, which Florida, I 100% agree with you, then the next question, which is really interesting, was like, what taxes are you okay to paying for if those taxes go towards something that doesn't directly benefit you, right? Like if you don't have kids, but you're okay with paying taxes for public kindergarten or elementary school or high school, like that's the follow-up question, because everyone can agree that says, hey, there should be no law that restricts the freedom to do what I want if it doesn't prevent someone from that's what I'm saying, Florida. But then the next question is like, okay, then if you think that, then where are you comfortable paying taxes for services that don't benefit you, as example, school taxes if you don't have kids, right? Or paying for public highways if you don't own a car.
We were talking about foreign investment, and you're pivoting back to this?
He's backtracking 3 hours ago.
Because it's been 3 hours since we had this conversation.
Why do you think he's backtracking now?
Because we had a good
When he
conversation.
made
I'm
a
gonna ask you a question.
claim, when he made a claim about the foreign investment law in Canada, whatever it is, being anti-capitalism, and I explained to him what capitalism is and how it still operates under the guidance of a government. He pivoted now to a prior conversation. Did you know
Okay,
that?
concrete.
Or no?
So concrete. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah,
Do you think
not
America?
recently prior
So that's
conversation.
okay, fine. Fine.
Like,
Concrete or
this might have
Florida.
even
Can I
been
ask you a
like
question?
4 to
All right.
5, maybe even 6 hours.
Supermod. Let me ask you a question. You think America have laws that prevent foreign investors from buying real estate?
Yes.
Oh,
Why?
yes,
Yeah,
for
it
sure.
is-
To an
you're
extent.
not a citizen, you shouldn't own property.
Now it's whether or not America should have it. No longer it's
Let's
anti-capitalist.
let John get in there. New voice, add to the conversation, John.
Other than just taking all of the water from Arizona and New Mexico to make cattle feed because they're taking advantage of laws and starving people. They shouldn't be doing that. And if we had laws that restricted buying land here, it wouldn't be anti-capitalist. It would be sensible because they're not a citizen. Like, what other fucking country allows you to buy land if you're not a citizen? What are we talking about?
Yeah, see, that's the thing, right? And I agree with John on that, Jeremy. It's like, to the extent which America embraces free market capitalism and free liberal ideology as far as like freedom of speech, freedom to own a firearm, things of this nature, it's like these rights should only be afforded to American citizens. And I also believe that it's about time that we start cracking down on who is an American citizen. And I also understand that that's not a liberal ideology, that is a largely authoritarian ideology, but I'm okay.
Yeah, I think where the nuance lies, Florida, and where I struggle with it is I completely agree that not everyone should be able to benefit from being American just because you snuck across the border. Like, I think that's a bullshit notion, right? And if you sneak across the border and have a baby, I don't think that baby should benefit from your ability to overstep American law. I think that's ridiculous and absurd, right? But the other point I'm trying to make is that I also believe that the investment and the taxes and what Americans pay to their government should go towards bettering them, their families, and what they do, right? And so if you come in and say, hey, as an American, I own a house, right? But which is an asset, and the government's going to come in and prevent someone on this planet from buying that asset at its actual value. How, Florida, does that support your belief that the only laws that should exist should be laws that prevent someone from harming your personal property? How do you coincide those two beliefs, that you think that the government should be able to prevent a Chinese person from buying your house for $1 million, where no American will pay that price, and at the same time say that no law should exist that doesn't prevent my protection of my personal property?
Yeah, because we've got companies that are registered in foreign countries that are still able to take advantage of our system, and those aren't American citizens. And when a foreign company chooses to monopolize or oligopolize an American industry or sector, that does impose some sort of a danger to me in my existence and my ability to live freely and comfortably within the states. All right, if the foreign entities were not able to own massive amounts of property and land or massive amounts of oil, et cetera, to the point where they had political bargaining capabilities and oligopolistic power and monopolistic power, if that didn't exist for foreign entities, I would probably be better off, in my opinion.
So, Florida, do you think and so how is there any difference between some Chinese billionaire buying any amount of stock on the American Stock Exchange versus you being comfortable with the American government restricting your parents from selling their house for $1 million to a Chinese person, right? They're being forced to hold on to it for 2 years and sell it for $800,000 to an American because you're comfortable with the American government having laws restricting them from selling it to a Chinese person because Chinese people can't buy, American land. And at the same time, you're perfectly fine with that Chinese person buying an American stock in an American company on the American, free market. Like,
One Chinese person
those two
buying
things are
one house in
completely
Canada is different
contradictory.
than these other situations that were proposed. I just want.
Okay, Chairman, if I could just interject for 1 minute. There's like 15,000 federal laws stopping you from bringing fish into the country. And even if you break a law in Guatemala and you bring that fish into the country, they can penalize you in the U.S.
100%.
So why do we have laws like that? Well, because poaching is a problem. There's these externalities. There's things you're just not considering, and you're creating this argument that seems really logical. But if you just bring a couple more variables in there, it falls apart. Like,
John, the other thing he's forgetting is that the United States government, all entities that purchase land from outside of the United States, meaning non-citizens, guess what the United States does on a pretty regular basis that goes under the radar? We seize the fucking assets.
Early on, we had the kind of the code of letting anybody buy land and do business in the United States. I think that's a bad idea because they've used all these loopholes to circumvent taxes, and they're really just exporting money at this point and doing a bunch of other dastardly deeds. So I just think that's a loophole that's bad that everyone.
So John, can I ask you something?
But at the same time, like we've done this with like the Russian oligarchs. We seized all the farmland assets, and including some of the mine assets that they had, some of the port assets that they had on this country. We literally just went in as the U.S. government said, we're going to seize any financial records, any financial holdings. And we went back and took that money out of the banks, the world banks, and all over the place. And we just take it all the time. I don't think people actually realize, United States government, if it wants your property, it doesn't matter. There's a carve out, and even foreign investors know this, that the U.S. government will take their land back regardless of whether or not you pay for it, and they won't give fuck all to compensation or repayment on it. We do it all the time.
Do you guys not know that? Yeah, drug dealers.
No, not drug dealers. I read Russian, like any citizen of
drug dealers.
Jeremy, I'm buying property in South America, and most countries require you to do about $1 million investment.
Yeah, John, John, that was the question I was going to ask you. That was the question I was going to ask you.
I live in Mexico, bro. I live in Salino, in the Sedona area across the border. I live in Mexico.
And so I guess the question I was going to ask you, John, is that like if I'm an individual that owns gold or owns stock or owns American dollars, right? And I think as an individual, those assets that I've earned, I should be able to trade those freely for their fair value.
Because you're talking a security, and then we're talking property, and property is not a security.
Do you think that property is not an asset?
It's an asset, it's not a security. That's why it's different.
So what do you think is the fundamental difference between a security and an asset?
Because a security is a contract, and it's not physical, technically. Like, there's physical dollars at stake, but it's still a contract, and you don't own physical property across another person's border without being a citizen. Right? Like, if you own property, I get hurt on your property, I want to sue you, you're in China and don't have a social security number.
Yeah, and John,
lose revenues.
And John, this is the conversation that I think is interesting to dive into, right? Which is that if you want to, for example, launch a wireless company in the U.S., there's a lot of regulation that you have to go through in order to do so. Yeah, exactly, through the FCC. But you can do it. Like even if you're a foreign entity, there's a path for you to launch a wireless company in the U.S. Legally, but it's highly regulated, right? It's not the same as if as a foreign.
Regulate air traffic is the FCC.
Yeah, great example. And also how you regulate like who can own energy companies, right? And you know, so that's the point I'm trying to make is that I think that there's good reason why those companies should be regulated, but I don't think that owning stocks in a U.S. company or real estate should be as heavily regulated.
Well, I think the real estate should be more heavily regulated than stocks.
Why?
It is fairly difficult for you to go buy on the Chinese market.
But
Like,
why?
most people can't figure out
Sorry.
that.
But sorry, John, because what I hear you saying is that it should be highly regulated, and I'm pissed that that the Chinese highly regulate their real.
It's pretty easy to buy land in China, no? I don't think they really do have.
They also will seize your asset though too, so like it just depends on the risk.
But do you hear what I'm saying? That it's that if you own real estate as an asset, as an American, you should be free as fuck to sell that asset to whoever the fuck you want for the price they're willing to pay without government intervention. And if you disagree with that statement, you're a leftist. You're not a rightist.
No, that's not. That one scenario doesn't determine somebody's like whether they're left or right in America. That's a stupid fucking proposition. So because you have conservatives that are protectionists, that they don't want any foreign influence on here, and they would rather just the country become more isolationist. So more
isolationist.
Yeah, and the idea that we don't have
pure rightism would say that there should be no regulation on
libtard fucking bullshit that you want to try to fucking pander to. There are isolationists that do not want any foreign investment. They don't want any foreign ties. They don't even want foreign fucking dignitaries. They don't even want ambassadorships over here. That's how much they want to go to an isolationist. They want to pull their pet toys.
So Brad, if you own property in the U.S., should the government be able to regulate who can buy that property from?
Yes, because the government, you don't own it, the government does. You pay taxes.
No. Brad owns land in the U.S. He owns it, not the government. He owns it. Should the government be able to implement laws that restrict who Brad can sell that property to?
Does.
They tell you you can't you can't plant a tree or cut a tree down.
What do you mean? I can't sell it to a fucking waste disposal for
I'm not asking if they can. I'm asking if they should.
Doing these like little fucking nuances.
Brad, I'm not asking if they can.
Shut up! I've listened to you for 2 hours while you bitched about me.
Okay, Brad, go ahead and take the room, man. I'll go on mute. Go ahead, man. I'd love to hear what you have to say.
I mean, I'm serious, but like again, I really want to go to war with Canada after tonight. I mean, but still, like, if you're going through, like, if you want regulations in terms of your property, yeah, I still do. I'm a conservative. I want the government to regulate. I don't want fucking libtards like you coming down from fucking Canada, buying up acres of land, and your fucking ridiculous narrative to try to profit off of Americans while burying fucking nuclear toxic waste in some fucking shithole piece of land that you bought in America and being able to sell it while you magically get a profit off of. Yeah, I want regulations for that shit. I actually want the government to intervene because that government's job is to make sure its citizens are protected from fucking twat waffles like you that like want to put these like pigeonhole things right on them. But I mean, like at the end of the day, I don't want John building. I have my land. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to open up a coal mine right next to it, this aquifer that I have to share. I want to open up a leather making plant right on the river that's feeding some of the cattle across.
Zoning, everybody.
Yeah, like, I mean, shit. We have zoning, we have a whole bunch. But, John, like, the idea that, you're all of a sudden on the left if you don't want to sell to foreign investors. No, I think they can invest.
To vote in the U.S. either. They shouldn't be able to vote if you don't live here. You're visiting. You're not a voter. You're not a landowner. You're visiting. You're welcome to visit and spend money and hang out, but you're not welcome to buy land with me. The fuck? Why do I want more competition?
So
you can drive up prices? What sense does that make?
there are different types of, there are people who are just visiting, but there are people who are permanent residents. And they're living here and they're
beautiful display, and then a whole big ass structure collapses. That's how historical events work, of how there are parallels and everything. Because reality is like a gigantic fractal, in a sense. You know, it's weird how it works. Even decision making is like a fractal. But you consider every decision you've ever made in your life, consider the alternate outcome of what that decision would have been like, and then keep dividing that into a decision tree. Effectively, what ends up happening is you start to see it is reminiscent of something like nuclear fission or an actual fractal. Just a little fun realization. But still, it is just one thing. And it is always just one thing. But then there's the next, and 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 it doesn't stop. Until eventually something big happens. Is there like a natural conclusion to this? I'd say there is. There's one of the two that I've mentioned. There is either full-scale conflict, or it is just simply a shift wherein the cultural centers of the world are then abandoned. The ones with the strongest cultures, they will fight. If they are encroached upon, of course. And I think we've seen this many times, even with the wars in the Middle East. It is like that. It's unfortunate how that happens. It truly is. And no one ever learns. Because I will just say enemy, bomb. You know, say enemy, just let's bomb them to shit. Everyone does. Because they're not involved in the war. They look at it from like the third perspective, then they feel sorry for one side of the conflict, then some of the other, but they don't know either side. It's like, what's going on here? Like, I find that very fascinating, you know? But it is what it is.
You don't think lessons learned?
So what's that?
You said not like never learn. We never learn. You don't think lessons learned?
We define we.
I mean,
That's the
humanity.
thing. Or humanity always learns. Is a oblivious faction that could never grasp what those lessons are that causes the true problems. Wisdom is difficult to attain because it's, well, difficult. And if you have a society that's built around comfort, because it's easier, must be done this way, then of course you'll have oblivion. It is honestly fascinating to see how much the intellectual capacity of the human brain, and especially the younger generations, as a result of all the garbage they consume, has degraded. Not just fascinating, I think it's rather shocking, disturbing. I find that disturbing, actually. That's the most accurate way to put it. That kind of leads into all the other things I described. Because perception and understanding and grasping of things.
But don't you think we need to fail to then learn and move forward?
No. Failure is a great teacher, but it's not the only one. Nor should it be. I don't think you have to experience a divorce, for instance, in order to understand that it's bad. I find that whole concept of, like truly, you won't understand how bad it can feel, but you will know it's bad enough that you shouldn't. That you should somehow take every course of actions you can to avoid that outcome. Because you know what could potentially yield. Not because you're knowledgeable to the exact extent of what it is like, but you understand what it could be like. And that is often sufficient. So no, not your failures, the failures of the past, or to teach you. They are less abstract, because they are less, quote, real. They're not here. But they will be soon, if you don't learn from them, because you'll be doomed to repeat that same fucked up part of history for the same reasons.
He's a philosopher. A stand-up court philosopher.
The fuck is this? Oh, that's wild. Hey, let me see this. I'm noticing some stuff. No, not much. What? No, I thought I saw something. I'm gonna see what the payout for the next 2 weeks is, and then I'll decide whether or not to get an org account.
Oh wow, that'll be fun.
Yeah, I don't think ever getting the max tier, or saving up to get a better computer, because that is also on the list. Needs better computer for more damage.
Yeah,
more free.
I would say the right to compute.
So either that or just like, it'd be cool because there's a few people in mind that give like badges to, for instance. But what the fuck is this? Yo. What the fuck?
I think Elon Musk is tripping that I'm spamming. Possible.
That looks weird. Interesting. Okay, no. Yeah, there's not much happening at the moment. Very cooled down, because the, oh wow. Oh, here, guys, look. The fucking Cybertruck. Towing things. It's kind of funny. Isn't it interesting how a truck can tow this much, but then somehow a thing that weighs less makes the frame rip off? It's almost as if the impact, the stress impact of smashing such a heavy car twice on very sturdy material somehow has an impact. And then also of course, making sure to leave some slack in the chain that's used to pull this thing so as
to apply maximum stress and force onto the already compromised thing, but somehow make it snap off, because it's exactly what you don't do to the car, right? It's almost like as if that would be the actual thing that caused that. You know, I kind of feel like it's funny. All these people made like next level fools of themselves because they all turned from like fucking analysts of finance into metallurgy experts overnight. Like, what?
So
how dumb are you?
40,000 pounds is like 20. What is it? 20 ton. That's a lot of.
How much? How much is the? What did they use? Did they use an F-150 or F-250? How much?
You mean in the
Yeah, obviously, yes. What's the weight of that car?
I don't know, like 6,000 pounds. F-150 or F-350?
Yeah. What did they use? I think it was F-150, wasn't it?
F-150, let me check.
Then I'll make a post about this myself as well.
Yeah, so it depends on the config, but typically between 2 to 2.5 thousand kilograms or probably 5,000 pounds, I would say. Let me check kilograms to pounds.
Yeah, give me a conversion.
So it's
freedom units to metric for both, please.
So 2274. That's maximum F1.
I just send it via text. Like, how much is that in tons? And the typical configuration would be nice.
Yeah.
Okay, let me do that. See, we're watching the live creation of news right now. Okay. What the fuck is this? Okay. That's the F-150, right?
Yeah, F-150 standard.
Can you give me the pounds? Okay, can you convert? Can you give me like the freedom units version of that and the metric version of the 40 pounds, please? 40,000 pounds?
Metric version of 40,000, okay.
Yes, and freedom units of
What is freedom
150,
units?
please. Oh, I'm sorry. Freedom units, pound. It's freedom units, but
ESL here.
It's called freedom units. America. America. Okay. So yeah, I've read Ray always the freedom units. I bought it out of that. Thought it was absolutely, thought it was very funny. Yeah. So that's cool. What's that? Mm-hmm. Yeah. How much can a F-150 actually tow?
$13,000
nice.
pounds.
18.
That's what I got on. That's what Grok said anyway.
Can we get like the official website on that? Because Grok sometimes has its. Yesterday it told me it was the 27th of July.
Okay.
So I'm being skeptical until the next version comes out.
Website. Yep. I just found it.
40 or 14?
1,000.
14 only? Rough. 14,000 pounds. Is that correct?
Excellent, yeah.
That's wild. Yeah, say that to me real quick?
Yeah.
What is the maximum, how much can the Cybertruck tow?
Let me check.
So this is Elon Musk live on X Spaces. He uses a nom de plume called Adrian Dittman.
So I need the 14 pounds in metric if possible.
11,000 pounds for the Cybertruck.
11,000.
Is that the? Then how is it possible that this thing has just towed a 40,000 pound thing? Are we like sure that that's real?
Check another source. Let me see.
Is that what Tesla? Can you go to Tesla spec directly? If I remember, it was like 50,000, I believe. Correctly.
On the actual Tesla.com/Cybertruck, it says 11,000 pounds towing capacity, like right there.
The fuck? So how's it? Okay, so hang on a second. How is this then towing 40,000 pounds? How do we know that? Okay, get me the conversion units for that while I search for the source of this video. Hold up. Thinking hat is on. Let's take a look here. Okay, let's see. Are there any watermarks? Wait, hold up. God, why does everybody rip footage like this, and why does it look so low fucking quality? If that's the max res, I think that could be the max res with the. Oh no, here we go. Got it. Very nice. So we find these guys. Get away. Okay. Bingo. Found the original source. What the hell is this? So this is, the video itself is from 1 week ago. Where does it say it pulled the weight? So how do we know that this is 40,000 pounds? Like, where does he get the number from? Okay. We're gonna have to dig deeper into this. delve harder.
Let's delve.
Yeah, though.
Delving harder. Okay. Okay, here we go. This is a little better. This thing is. Okay, so it's the 8,000 to 10,000 pound. Okay, that's interesting. That's interesting. Because hold on, we have to double check. We can't just like post stuff. I thought that was extreme. Let's see. Thing weighs 10k pounds. Why is it pulling it to family class? That's true. Wait, hold up. It weighs 6.6 thousand pounds, around 2050 mega cap weighs 7,000 pounds. Interesting. But it's based on GVWR.
Probably means that it can pull like sustainably. That for like.
Yeah, but the question is, where did the 40k number come from? I need a source for that. I need to be 100% sure. I can't just like transmit something I don't know.
Okay. Right.
Like, where's the... Shows like...
Verdammt nochmal.
That's funny. Okay, cool. So I think if we look at okay. Okay. Oh, bingo. Class. No. We find poll champion. Cybertruck poll champion. This post from 9 days ago. Okay. And then where's the actual... Whoa. I don't understand. Okay, so somehow this must have been... Okay, let me check the description of this video. It doesn't have description. Fuck. Well, that's annoying. Okay, how about this one? This one's from 8 days ago. Let's check this one. Is this true? Figure out how I live. This is old. No. It says nothing about the tonnage pull at all. So that number is made up, it seems. I can't find anything. Well, that's fucking disappointing. I hate it when people make stuff up. That's just... Like, how is the...
Okay, so
how did we
that
come up with this number?
that video came from what is it, Instagram?
Yeah, of course, I know it came from Instagram. I already went through all that.
Okay.
But it doesn't say the number there. So where did you get the video from? I looked at the description, straight to all that.
Cybertruck you can,
Not the video.
on Cybertruck you can see like the name of the event, I think. One sec. Voxel. You get Vin Voxel. So if you search that, Van Voxel supply.
Yeah, I guess, can you search that real quick? Because I can, I'm still looking through this one extensive breakdown. What sales, what type of damage, success, delivery, I think show me the fucking history of the Cybertruck. I don't want to know the history, I know the history, I was there.
Oh no, that's just like a,
fuck this.
I guess, advertisement.
This probably, yeah. Okay, hold up. So that name. So where did that number come from?
So I found it on YouTube.
I also found it on YouTube, but there's again, I need to know where the number came from. I already know all the source material. I went through all those places. It is not in the description either. Already checked. Now we're gonna Grok. Fuck. I'm gonna have to use my computer for that because when you're hosting a space, Grok becomes unusable because the chat interface itself, where you type things into, is obfuscated by or covered by the spaces bar interface thing that you see, which probably needs to be fixed. But sorry, I'm tired. I want to get to the fucking bottom of this because if that is not true, that is that's misleading info, bro. We can't have that. Okay, let me power this thing up. Sign in. Get fired. Okay, let's see. Get the X running. Okay.
Alright, I found another source.
Of the video, or did you find the actual number itself and where it came from?
It's from a different event, but it's also 40-pound tractor pull.
Oh, okay, now we're getting somewhere. Do we have a video for that?
Yes, actually, maybe.
Okay, send me the link to that. To me and the site. I'll extract it myself.
Actually, Elon reposted that. Let me check.
Ooh, even better.
Oh yeah, Elon did post it. Yeah. Rivian. Hold on, I'm checking for Cybertruck. I see Rivian pulling. Oh yeah, the Cybertruck. Yes, Cybertruck pulling 40,000 pounds.
Sweet.
Alright, let me find the tweet. Post.
And send to me DMs. Excuse me.
Yeah.
We're gonna get to the bottom of this, bro. Yes, hang on, checking DMs. Actually on the computer now. Sweet. Beats and oh yeah, of course. I still remember this. This was directly from oh yes. Oh dude, even better. I can rephrase everything I just wrote. Well that's annoying, but it's cool. This is from the Tesla event. Like when they launched it? This is from the launch.
Yeah.
Dude, even better. Let's get straight to the fucking source, my dude. Straight to the fucking source. So was that the actual statistic that was given in that video?
So there was like, of course, from Elon's post, there was written an article on Motor Trend, and Motor Trend then specified that it was pulling 40,000 pounds tractor.
Send me, please.
Yeah.
Sweet. Okay, so I can work with this. Now we're getting factual. This is what I'm doing. So how did they come up with that number, though? That's something. So at least we now know the source of the number, which was from 2023. Bingo. Trucks were hitched up to a 40,000-pound tractor pull sled. Yeah, but it actually... interesting. Yeah, but here's the little distinction. They were hooked up to this thing, but did it actually get to 40,000 pounds? That is the question. And what, I'm missing something here. I feel like there's something I'm missing. Because look at the capacity. Look at how much it's actually supposed to pull. So did they... What am I missing here? I feel like I'm missing something. So did they actually pull... Well, of course they pulled the 40-ton thing, but that would far exceed the feet of strength, would it not? Is that then that there was...
So basically, like the stats that you get from the Cybertruck page, it's like that 11,000 pounds, it has to pull sustainably for long distance. But for short stretch, like a few 100 meters, it can pull 40,000 pound sled. But there is a video actually. If you click on the video just below.
Where?
There's an advertisement. I'm waiting for it to go by. In the motor trend, just below the article, there is a YouTube video.
Oh, okay. So it's like right at the start. Is that correct? Or
At the bottom.
just right under GMC Hummer EV, right?
GMC Hummer EV, yep.
Yeah. Oh, it's a 12-minute one. Sweet. Do you think we can extract something out of that? Can you extract the movement that was actually... Because did they do the pull here? I'm sorry, what's relevant about this video?
Okay, I'm waiting for the advertisement. Whenever I scroll, there is advertisement.
Man, how do we view this on... I hate embed. Embed is disgusting. Let me find a way around that. Okay, let me find a way around that. This is YouTube, because that's what it's from. So you have fucking pre-roll ads.
And they're playing the same ad whenever I scroll. Where is the logic in that? If I've seen this ad, why would I...
These are literally your own fucking ads, bro. It's fucking
oh yeah,
wild.
that's true. It is. They probably couldn't...
It's literally their own ads. They be advertising on their own site.
Okay, so I was scrolling
That's
and
wild.
the advertisement that came next was the Cybertruck pulling man and the actual sled.
Yeah, so there you go. That's the...
So they probably just want to throw a little bit of a wow factor to the article.
Yeah.
Like add some meat on the bone.
Okay. Actually, I think I can do a thing with this. Okay. There you go.
Okay, I think I got something.
What you got?
I found another article which is I'm basically traversing through the clickbait industrial complex. And
Clickbait industrial complex. That's wild.
Yeah.
Cool, hold up. Let me do something real quick. Because that was actually interesting. Let me do some research. You guys are watching how thoroughly we're researching. In real time, you're kind of getting a breakdown of how thoroughly we're trying to get through this thing. Because I don't want to leave any stone unturned. But isn't that literally the same thing that you just sent me before?
No.
Well, it is actually the exact same link.
No, there's a lot of
Look at it.
pictures with the sled?
Yes, because I'm looking at the same link that you sent me before.
I don't think it's the same. Let me check.
Dude, actually, no, you're right. It's just the pictures. It has the same link visual. That's confusing, but yes.
Avatar, yeah.
Well, those are actually screenshots from the Tesla event. So, I mean, the launching. I mean, yeah, that's helpful for sure. We need to do something. We go a little analysis mode. No, wrong fucking window. I just love the fact that I have some data stored in my DMs. My personal DMs are my notes to myself. I literally have that. Whoops, stop the cab, stop the cab. Oh, I said that. Okay, let's see. Copy. Thing from there. Let's go look at this in my fucking. Wait, how do we. Clip. Wait, what the actual fuck? Oh no, I think I. No, that's not what I. Well, that's annoying. Why did I do wrong? Let me. Yo, that's actually kind of swag. Wow. Yo. That's wild. Yeah. Let me get the original. Let me scroll into this. And what else do we do? One of the greatest things. Nice. One of the greatest things I like about keyboard is that whenever you put an enter in some places, when you don't want to hit the enter, you just fucking hold the shift key. I just love that so much.
Yeah.
You still get that quick clicky feeling that you need. Yeah. Okay, let's see.
Maybe next line without breaking the line.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Okay, Wiggle, I'm just going to use you as my notes pen real quick.
Aye.
That's what I wanted to be my...
But you can actually message yourself now, you know that, right?
Yeah, true, but I don't want to clog that up.
Alright, and you can delete messages, right?
Well, yeah, actually, yeah, you can. Think about it.
You can? I thought you can.
Yeah, you can. Just for you, but literally no one else is reading this. Literally no one else is reading that except you, so I guess, you know. That's funny.
So, Edward wrote that It's a sled pull. The weight is the big red weight on the sled, and you can pull it more in front where a truck has to drag it more. The weight is 40,000 pounds. Only a full pull would get to 40K.
So was it a full pull or not?
Then the weight moves up, so you go forward. Yeah, he doesn't say if it was a full pull, but the weight moves up as you go forward. That's, I guess, is the.
Are you sure? Because I thought it's okay. Let me read this. Let me read the thing that they say.
That's the peculiarity.
Let me get. Let me do. Control F. I love it so much. Yes. As expected, this does not advertise essentially the competition. Folding the book. Yeah. As full pull by blasting a sled past the 300-foot mark all the way to an impressive 318 feet. Yeah. It was a full pull.
That's impressive.
And we learn something every day. Oh, God. So we'd actually be getting better stuff, so that's just like, cool, okay. Let me do something about this. How do I let me read this. Okay. No, fuck you. Okay. Oh yeah, that's the data I need. Okay, why is this thing so, like... That's not normal. Okay. Okay, let's try this. So I'm gonna write something up right now. That is interesting. Okay, cool. Okay, let me structure a write-up real quick. That's gonna be the last thing I'll do today. Then I'm gonna fucking hit the stack.
Yes.
Something like that. Data. So much data. Uh, uh-huh. That would be like a big thing I'd have to write out. Now I'm reading all the data. That's like a big thing I have to write out. Yeah. So that thing is not actually pulling 40K in the video. It's pulling 40K in our full pull for the demonstration back then by Tesla. So that video is technically false.
Oh yeah? Well.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's exactly what we're looking at, right? Because that's not, if you look at that, that's not what that is, isn't it?
I'm looking at it.
Yeah, it's here.
I'm looking at it. What do you mean by not? It's not it.
Well, where does it say that in this? The video is unclear, so I can't use that. Also, hold up, I just heard something. What's this? Oh, what the fuck? Bro, are you kidding me? No. Bro, why you be fucking like requesting up in this space and all you've got on you is like a bunch of weird pictures that look like you live your life on LinkedIn/Instagram pretending to be something standing out from something that's like average and it's full of like cryptocurrency reposts. There's like literally zero chance that you're gonna get up here. Go bot someplace else, fucking idiot. Get fucked. By the way, that's what people keep doing. If you see like a weird person who's unverified, their entire like history is full of like weird crypto show reposts. If you allow them to come up into your space, they run a script and spam your fucking bar up there.
That exact instance happened to me, being so naive and letting someone.
I keep telling everyone, don't let fucking everybody up. And nobody wants to listen to me until their space gets crashed by an OnlyFans bot. Then everybody understands.
It was like a Bruce Willis picture, I think.
Oh my god. Yeah, there's no way. Like, they did this before. You're gonna fucking try it again? Get fucked. No way. Actually, where did this come from? Oh, yeah, sure. Sure. Go. There we go. Clean that up. Nice. There we go. Little thing I had to put together. What did this guy say? Oh, yeah. Beautiful. Okay, so, should I write this? Wait, what's this? Mm. 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 Yeah. Good question by Warpog, actually. That was a really good question. I don't know the answer to this, whether or not the frame or toe point of the Cybertruck was actually properly treated for work hardening. I do not know the answer to that question. That's a good question. This is going to turn into a bigger rabbit hole than it actually is.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, look, the tow capacity is that much.
But it seems like actually it may be a standard, for weight increasing as it as it pulls up. It's like a de facto test procedure.
Mm-hmm. That's funny. Yeah, you know what you guys actually think maybe? Hold up. Let's take a look. Okay, man. Hold up. That's right. I mean, honestly, I think I could actually, now I'm thinking about this, I just thought about this again in my head. The org is actually not so bad. That's only, only is said wrong, but I mean, I think the org account itself is 833 a month, if I recall correctly, then plus affiliate badges. I'd assume that I'd want a few people in.
Do you have to pay extra for each badge?
Yes. I just don't know if that's worth the investment. Somehow I feel like it is. That's 10,000 annually. Is that worth it? That's the question. Maybe if also additionally created a newsletter or a Patreon or something that could cover the cost of an affiliate badge, where I could say anyone who's buys this tier of Patreon gets an affiliate badge. Or have to, because you support the mission, I suppose. I could make that kind of thing. But And
Right, yeah.
Because I can also imagine I would pick out 3 accounts for this. Three accounts. So imagine I pick out 3 accounts for this, right? It's like